Hey everybody, welcome back to another very special episode of the Zamora 2-Player Podcast. We literally just did this intro for like 3 minutes and I realized I didn't start recording. So we're going again.
Well, we're live and in person this time.
Yeah, so I'm all flustered of the steps I normally do.
We're excited to be doing this together in the same place. So, so anyway, forgive us for that.
So I am your player one, Garrett Zamora, and in person this year, or for this episode, Matt Zamora is here.
Yo.
He's home for the holidays this year for Christmas, so we wanted to save our GOTY episode so that we could do this more cozy version in person.
Yeah.
So we also were going to do a bit about having a Zoom screen that he would be in and walk into my frame. But the Mickey Mouse setup I have here for recording, it was just like, I barely have this working basically with duct tape. I don't want to try to throw a bit in there.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, just pretend we did a really funny...
pretend we did a very funny bit about breaking through the Zoom walls.
Yep.
But anyway, we just wanted to make sure that we got this up and running, because it'll be a longer episode, I think.
Yeah, we've got a long episode planned, so it's probably best not to waste time with a bit. We'll just get right into the content. So.
Yeah. So the breakdown we're going to do for this one is going to be... we both finished the God of War and Final Fantasy 16 DLC, so we're going to talk about that briefly.
Yep.
And for once, Matt beat something before me. He got the God of War DLC done before I was probably even halfway through.
Yep.
But the 16 DLC, for a minute, I was like, wait, did you get that too? And yeah, you said...
No chance. Not even close. Like, it wasn't even a contest because... I had like broken out my work day to like, it came out last night at midnight, so I should go download this at lunchtime so it's ready to go as soon as I finish up work. And I think I didn't actually get it till the next morning anyway. Sure. So like, oh man, I'm such a good Final Fantasy fan. Garrett had finished it before I had even downloaded it. So
I think I took a half day at work because I had the time to use, and I had like an errand to run, and then I got home way earlier than normal the Friday that it was out, and so I just sat down. I think I did it in like one setting. It wasn't super long. So,
yeah, it was but we'll talk more about that. Yeah, because that was really fun. I loved that. And the God of War one was
one was very good too. So we'll talk about that briefly. We're gonna just talk about a couple, maybe like a highlight or two that we had doing the podcast, because when we first did this, we were gonna do like 6 episodes just to like commit to doing 6 so that we don't just do one and get discouraged if it didn't turn out the way we want or something. And that was a year ago.
Yeah.
Around almost exactly a year ago that I probably called you to talk to you about doing this.
And as you kind of said on probably kind of episode 1, it was, we always, we'd call each other, frequently, and it would just turn into a conversation like we've had on the pod. And it
just condensed into one phone conversation in December every year.
Yeah. And so I didn't really need much convincing to do this, because like, that sounds awesome. So it's been a really fun year. And so we've got a cool, year in review podcast to do. So, yeah.
And with the year that we had of 2023 for games, I literally would have exploded if I didn't have someone to talk to all the time about all the gaming stuff that happened this year. Just in terms of the quality of the game releases. So we'll talk about a couple of little highlights. We'll go over what games we actually completed this year. And as we mentioned, like in an earlier episode, like obviously I have a lot more time outside of work hours to get through games. So it's not a contest, but we want to still go over both sets of games that we've gone through. And because mine is, longer, and I'm always putting you on the spot with random questions and games, we're kind of giving Matt the opportunity to flip that on me for the majority of this episode, where we got a bunch of questions from all the side quest episode guests that I've had over the year. And I told him it can be as random of a question that you want, whether it's about that game specifically or about any game you played, whatever. Like it was very open-ended. So we have a bunch of questions from them. And I told Matt, like, I think it was in like September. I told you to just start writing down questions that you could think.
Yeah.
And just accumulate a list, and then we'll go through with my list of games. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give myself like a 10-second like gut answer.
It's got to be kind of a gut reaction.
Yeah, because I've done that to you a lot.
Exactly.
So I think it's only fair to do that.
And I kind of kept a notepad by my desk at work, and then just like, ooh, that's a great question. I've just kind of tried over the past couple of months to transcribe a few, so I'm pretty happy. I have some pretty good questions that I would struggle to think of my own answer, but I'll try to do it while you're thinking.
And then I think there's even a few points like I have the worst short-term memory ever, and sometimes I would text Matt and I'd be like, hey, write this question down because I'll probably forget it by December. And it would be a good one. And I know I sent you a few, and I genuinely don't remember what they are. So anyway, we got lots of those to go through for my list of games. I got my friend at work that did the game trailers without context game earlier this year. And what I did was I gave Matt the list of my completed games. And then he picked trailers from games on that list, sent them to her, and then I'll have to guess which game it is. So again, flipping it back on me since I put Matt on the spot all the time.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty excited for that, actually.
They're
pretty good. Yeah.
She wanted me to tell her when it was done so that she could watch. And then we'll just go over our like actual game of the year, picks for our actual games, just our personal picks for the year. So, we'll get started with, let's talk about 16 DLC first, because I think we both, we finished that, I think, because that came out before the Valhalla DLC came out anyway.
Barely. So. I feel like it was just like a week.
Yeah, it was very close. It's only because the night they announced the DLC, it was like available now. And then the Valhalla DLC was like 5 days later or something.
Exactly.
So I guess spoiler alerts on the table for FF16 and God of War, because they kind of take place. Well, God of War takes place after the game essentially, and 16 takes place right at the end. So, it's right before you go to Origin for like the final mission essentially,
which is good. And you pointed this out. I'm glad it's not like post. Credits kind of thing. It's like no, this is pre-Origin final battle. So
because that was my worry about DLC for that game when they confirmed it, is like that ending to me was like very like
final,
like very final. Like I didn't want more to happen or to change necessarily what happened. So I like when DLCs are just like a slice in the middle of the game somewhere like that. And I feel like you needed to be close to the end to do that DLC.
Oh, geez.
Because that was hard.
It's funny because our cousin Mike is playing FF16 now because I lent him my physical copy of it, and he was at a point where he's like, what the hell is this door all about? And it's literally the DLC into the mountain or whatever. So I didn't say anything. I was just like, I don't know.
I had forgotten when I was playing it the first time. I was like, man, I eventually one of these side quests must bring me back here. And then I just forgot about it.
Yeah. And especially because some of the things become like the trials.
Yeah, like I thought it would be one of those.
Yeah, and they look really similar. This one's more of a door in the mountain or whatever. Yeah, but anyway,
And so as soon as the DLC like brings you to that door, I immediately was like remembered that. Oh yeah, I never found out what this door was.
Yeah,
and then it is exactly where the DLC takes you. So and then definitely took me a hot minute to like. How do I play this game again? Like, what are the controls?
It's my first note. It was like, how do I play? I was in God of War mode. That was like,
because you just finished.
I just finished Ragnarok, the kind of the main story, and so and just finished platinuming that. So I was dialed in on those controls. But then it's like, oh, I got to get back dialed in again to 16.
Because it's no cakewalk.
Yeah.
And both of us we had done the platinum run. I think, you did the platinum for 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had fully finished that. And so we were both on our like Final Fantasy mode, which is like the hard mode run.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to like go to the easy mode of the DLC. Like I'm just going to go right in the Final Fantasy mode or whatever.
Yeah.
And
even more so, no cakewalk.
Yeah. For having to remember how to play and going right into the hard mode of that very, pretty challenging DLC.
The first boss, like the skeleton face or whatever, I was just like, I'm using elixirs. Like, come on, like this must be a pretty short DLC if I'm like already busted out the big guns here. But my item management was pretty bad. Run through.
Yeah, and it's challenging because it's way longer than like I think any other dungeon in that game, like just start to finish before you refresh like your items. Maybe the Titan fight is longer, but I feel like it's not as heavy on resources because once you turn to Ifrit, I think you get like a different healing item with different charges or something.
Yeah, it's kind of not an item, but it's a consumable, but if you
not
die,
a potion or
if you die, you just get refilled again.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. So it was much longer, and those boss fights were no walk in the park.
Yeah.
And then so it's spoilers again, it's Omega that you fight in the end, who's been like a super boss in a couple of the Final Fantasies. Obviously, I think 5 was the first one that he showed up.
Okay.
And he's definitely similar to the design of that one, and then he's a boss in 14, and like that design is definitely based off the 5, and then so this is some kind of like hybrid of the two.
And the musical score
and the music is straight from the boss fight in 14. At least the melody is definitely there, and it's a new version, obviously. And there's a lot of 14 stuff in that DLC, like Easter egg wise. And then I died multiple times, and like somewhere in the middle of the fight, like halfway through when he transforms.
Yeah.
He like grows more limbs or something.
Yeah.
And I died a lot in that phase. Because I think I had the one, it's called like the last elixir, which like fully revives you and fully heals you and fills your limit break. And I don't think you can even buy another one of those.
No,
that was the only one you have.
Yeah.
And I had that and like I think I had that and one elixir left for that entire fight. Yeah. And so I died a lot in that middle phase. And then when I beat it, I showed Matt the video because I took out the trophy. There's like a DPS check, and it's like the safe area of the arena is getting like smaller and smaller. Yeah. And like I don't even rewatching it, I can't even tell what's happening.
Oh, because the total chaos.
It was so small, and I had like I think it was like double-digit HP left. Yeah. 50 HP left or something. Mashing every attack I had and like just killed him, got the trophy. And I had only gotten to that part once, like the DPS check where it starts shrinking. Yeah. So that felt really good. Like just barely like clenching that out.
So I died at that part. And like just barely. Like I bet you I got to the double-digit HP, but didn't have a horseshoe up my ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was a blink away from dying too.
And I like nearly threw my controller across the room because I died several times, and it's hard. It was pretty hard. Yeah. But then if you do die at that point, you start over at that kind of
where the
final
starts shrinking.
Stage. Yeah. So I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Be brutal.
But yeah, it was pretty tough. Like especially like, oh, okay, I think I'm getting the hang of this boss when it's kind of more mechanical, and then it becomes more organic. Just like, oh, okay, this is an icon fight. Not as Ifrit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh man.
Which I like because the trailer for the next DLC, because it's Leviathan. Yeah. You see him as Ifrit in that fight. So I kind of like that one DLC is like just Clive, and then one will be Ifrit, because I'm pretty sure there was a shot in that trailer where you were using Leviathan powers.
Yeah, I
So
can't remember.
I think you actually, we'll get like a new tree or whatever. So
I'm excited for that too.
They'll be nice that they'll feel very, different from each other. So, it was awesome DLC. It was pretty cheap too. It was cheaper than I was expecting to buy.
Yep.
And then I think it was probably like, even on the hard mode, I think all in all, it took like 4 or 5 hours. Like it didn't take super long, but I didn't think it overstayed its welcome either. So
yeah, because I kind of like, one of my favorite moves is like get up early and just kind of start hacking away, have my coffee and things like that. And then I was essentially done by lunch. But I also just love. I didn't know I was doing it on Final Fantasy mode. Like I assumed,
just loaded your save.
I just loaded my save and went, and I assumed you'd have to choose. And so when it was like boom, like a trophy for the final boss, and
right,
boom for beating it on Final Fantasy mode, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
maybe that explains why it was so goddamn hard. But anyways, I was happy. That'd be fun to revisit, actually, just to do it again.
I did boot it up again. Why did I do that? I think I was like, because they raised the level cap. I was like, oh, let me see how much XP I get
just from like grinding.
From like, let me do it again, and I couldn't. I didn't even get to the boss, and I was out of heals. And I was like, well, I guess I'm done. Yeah. I was like, that's fine. I don't need to grind out because I didn't feel like I was getting much XP anyway.
Yeah.
There's probably a more efficient way to do it, just out in the field somewhere.
Yeah.
I was just like, I liked the amount of challenge that it was giving.
Oh, me, It was rewarding, so.
Yeah. But it's just like a nice slice, just like a really intense dungeon if you want to like go back. And it adds it to the arcade mode or whatever that thing's called. So you can revisit that.
Yeah, I should do that again because that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the tiers of the fights in 16. Like, it's just kind of like, okay. Or stage 1, stage 2, they do that really well.
They escalate those fights really well, so that was a lot of fun. We'll put a pin in that game until I think it's spring is the Rising Tide or whatever it's called. So that'll fall nicely between Rebirth and, for me, 14's expansion sometime in the summer. So it'll fit right in that slot nicely for me to give me a little Final Fantasy, injection.
Yeah, exactly.
in those months.
And I lent my cousin the physical copy. He hasn't played it yet. Yeah. So I was kind of like, okay, here, you can borrow this until the and that's kind of why I wanted to aggressively finish that DLC, the first one. It's like, okay, but for the Leviathan, the Rising Tide one, you got to get it back to me by then. But I'll probably be deep into Rebirth at that point.
Yeah,
so
we might still be combing through the fan theories and reading about the ending, and that'll be our time with that game will not end when we hit credits for it. So
no, I think I played Remake 4 times through before I said I think I'm ready to hang up the controller.
I honestly think I was on my 4th because I did the 2 for the trophies, like normal hard mode, and then I think I just did a second. A third hard mode, just because I wanted to like finish. I don't know if there was like materia I was still working on or something. I don't remember. I just wanted to play more. Because it also filled out that like, what's that thing called? Like battle guide or
the battle log or something.
Yeah, with like stuff that weren't tied to trophies. So like did those. So Rebirth will have a lot of that, and so we won't be done with that game for at least probably like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. Oh man.
Which is, by the way, it's like exactly actually 2 months from today.
That's insane. That's totally insane.
We're recording on the 29th, so
okay.
2 months from today that we'll be playing that. And 1 month, and we'll already be a couple days into Tekken.
So. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, but between bathroom breaks and sleeping, it's like 2 minutes. So.
Awesome. So that was excellent DLC. Didn't ruin the ending or anything, which is what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And then a couple days later, God of War free DLC.
Yeah, man, awesome.
Comes out, and this for sure takes place. After the ending of God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, spoilers. Freya is like asking you to be the new like on her council and like be the new god of war for like what is it called? Like the Norse realm. I don't know if they call it something else. I'm forgetting now. Whatever it is. They're just their realm that they're in. Yeah. To like try to keep the peace and all this stuff. And he's obviously hesitant about that. I watched a video, I watch a lot of Skill Up's video reviews, and he had a really awesome piece about this DLC and cool. Comparing it to like there's this documentary about this like I don't know if it was like some maximum security prison where a bunch of prisoners agreed to do like super intense group therapy to like help them like see who they were so that they can not be that person again, like strive to not become that person again kind of thing, like that did the thing they did to land them in there. And anyway, he drew a lot of comparisons to that because like that's what this DLC is. It's literally like Kratos' therapy. Yeah. And the way they build it into like a rogue like
mechanism,
game system or whatever, because that's what it is. It's know you're doing runs and you're getting moderate upgrades every time. If you do a decent run, you can upgrade permanent stuff so that your next run is easier and you can get farther, and every time you like kind of get to the end of it, you like piece together more story, and then the next time you go in there's new story bits and stuff like that, and it's all about it's like Kratos going to Valhalla, and it is essentially like challenging him to like face his past and accept the things he's done and all this stuff. It's so good.
Oh, it's really good for free DLC.
Yeah. And it's probably like 6 or 7 hours, like maybe even a little more.
I may have spent more on that time than I did on 16.
I think so too. Yeah.
And it was funny because like I got the platinum on God of War, and kind of it was at like a natural point of like, okay, like I think I'm done playing this, because I kind of got the platinum and then said, maybe I can go explore some of the like achievements of just like
like the built-in like non-trophy
Spartan
stuff.
Kick 20 people or whatever. It's like, maybe I'll hack away at some of these, but I kind of like did that for 20 minutes and then was like, I think I'm done. And then, but my good buddy Cam, who kind of has been one of the biggest like champions of this game, like, you haven't played Ragnarok, like he's been trying to inject that higher into my to-do list for a long time. And when I started playing it, and you've been kind of 1B on that award.
Every couple months around, like, oh, you still haven't played it? Oh, shit.
And then so when I finally played, like, oh man, this game's awesome. And then both you and my buddy Cam just being like, Jesus, of course.
We know.
Yeah. But so when I kind of recently, I was talking to Cam, like, oh, have you platinumed it? Have you beaten the king and the Valkyrie? He's like, oh, not yet. Oh man, you have to do that. Tell the script was flipped. Like, you haven't done that yet? Tell me what your build is, and like, I have some suggestions. I might be able to help you with that. And then my buddy Cam just platinumed it right, like the day before the DLC.
Nice.
So I was kind of jealous because like, oh, he's gonna jump into that just like
easy mode.
I'll go like dialed to 11, and I was just like, how do I change my weapon again?
Like, I know.
Because I just relearned 16.
Yeah, same.
So it's just like, oh my God. But then once you get into it, you're like, oh, God damn, the combat in that game. So
once it clicks again, it's like, it feels so good. And I was just getting to near the end of it when Matt got here. When he arrived. So you were here for a couple of my key runs of getting to a new ending of the whole situation. And I don't think, I know I said spoilers, but I don't even think I'll say who you fight at the end, because it was a nice surprise. I was not expecting. So I think I won't spoil that, but that ending fight you do evolves every time you kind of make more progress. And God, it's fun when you're getting the parries and like,
oh man, like confirmed. It's even fun watching someone get a good parry. I was because Garrett's got an amazing setup, much better than mine, and just like perfect parry, clung, and then bam, hitting them with the shield. Like, I was just like, that's just as satisfying watching it. Yeah. So no, that was awesome to watch you kind of play that a little bit. Yeah.
And then you get like so it's when you like do the first like basically like tutorial room with like 2 or 3 weak enemies.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of pick your path. So it's like you get a rune option for one of your 3 weapons.
Yeah.
And then it seems to be like whichever one you pick, like if you pick one for your Frost or your Leviathan axe, it feels like most of what you're gonna get is for the axe.
Yeah.
The odd time you'll get a random one for your other weapon.
It's pretty weighted towards the weapon that you choose.
Yeah. It's probably like 90% of what you're gonna see is stuff for your Leviathan axe at that point. At least when it comes to like weapon specific stuff. So you kind of like each run can feel way different because you could be deep into like a Leviathan axe build that's like all strength and no runic. And then the next run is like Blades of Chaos all the way, super low cooldowns, crazy high like runic build like power and stuff. And I feel like I used more of my kit doing that DLC than I did in most of the game.
And that was probably the thing that I liked the most out of that DLC. And similar, I think I talked to you about this. The trials in FF16 that forced you to use a certain icon. Yeah. I like that because I get set in a certain build and I'm like, I like this. I don't like change. Yeah. And when it forces you to similarly, like just take a step back. Before you go into Valhalla, you have to choose like what shield do you want. And you can't change it after that. What rage art. I didn't vary the rage art too much. I needed healing.
It was almost always Valor.
Yeah.
Because you'll get a bonus. Like one of them will be like shiny or whatever, and it's like if you take the shiny one, you'll get more of the currency that gives you permanent upgrades when you get back to the beginning. Yeah. So it's like it's a little incentive to do that, but it's not super detrimental if you don't. It's not like they're the ones
harder
that
or something.
Yeah, it's not like they're less powerful. They just don't give you as much currency at the end. So I'd play the game with the shield. Like, you know what? I like my shield, but I can try some other ones if it means I get more. Same. Whatever's. But for the Valors, I don't care whichever one's the special one. I think almost always. I tried the newer ones a couple times, but I was like, I get more utility from the heal.
Yeah, and I need the heal. But varying the shields, it was kind of like doing a full run through or a full cycle. This shield was kind of fun. The charge one or the big one or the whatever. Like I was like, this kind of expands my kit a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I like that. It was really, really fun DLC. I loved it.
Really made me appreciate more of the game's combat. Like just in general, like more varied combat than the main game. And for me, I played that game when it came out. So it's like over a year ago. So it was a nice revisit.
And the music's so good in that game. Like, are they making a sequel or?
I'm pretty sure they said they are. I don't know if it will be like a direct sequel to this or like, another chapter years later or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
They're definitely not done.
Yeah, because the combat's so good in those games.
And I don't know. They may do more DLC, but I feel like if they don't, this felt very like. Also very like final.
True.
And put a nice sort of tied it up with like a nice bow at the end. Yeah. With a pretty cool moment that I also won't spoil. But the very, very end with the throne. That was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Very unexpected. So it also gives you like a pretty good I played God of War 3 because when I got a PS3, I was just hungry for PS3 exclusives because after I played like Uncharted 2, like holy shit, this game looks good. What else looks this good? So I was just looking for any like PS3 exclusive, and I played the God of War 3, like the original one, which was on PS3, and it was like I couldn't even tell you what the story was in that game. I liked it and it was fun, but it was a very different game from the reboot.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just knew from like reading and watching other videos like the general story of God of War.
Yeah.
But like I didn't know it well. And this game does a pretty good, or the DLC specifically gives you like
it goes into the
pretty,
past lore.
A pretty good like sort of chronology of what Kratos went through, which was just really satisfying to just see the journey that he's made, to this point. So and it's free. So if you have that game, go play it.
Seriously,
you have no excuse because it is excellent. It's not just, people might see that it's like roguelike and think it's just some throwaway thing, but it's like legitimately deep story. And just it's funny how well they just copy pasting a roguelike sort of system. It's funny how well this game's system's like, oh, that fits perfectly into this kind of thing, right?
An easy modeling of that kind of game.
And so obviously credit to the devs for like figuring out how to make it fit. Obviously it wasn't just a copy paste, but awesome. It was a very, very good DLC. So that was a nice like little like cherry on top of the year, just winding down with a couple easy games. Matt has been playing RE4 remake, but I told him we'll wait and talk about that when you're done, because we could talk about that game for a while. And I've been playing, my friends finally got me addicted to Genshin Impact, and I'll talk about that on a 2024 episode. So outside of those two games for us, these were just really nice sort of wrap-ups of the year. So, and
maybe worth mentioning, I'm currently going through, as part of my Christmas homework, I've been playing just a ton of Mario Odyssey, which I have never played. I don't know anything about. I know it's an older game, but it's just it's in line with, if you guys remember, an older episode of playing Mario Galaxy when I was home, and when I'd always have homework for Matt when he comes home. He's like, "Hey, gotta play these games." That was like our tradition. So now that you're here for like a good week and a half or so, I've just been hacking away at that. It's been kind of fun. I come over here during the day and just doing some work, but I just kind of watch my cousin Mike play FF16. So I'm kind of reliving that, kind of because work isn't too busy. And then when Garrett gets home, I come down and play Mario Odyssey, and you can kind of vouch now. Like my buddy Jake, he saw. I did play it for like 5 minutes once, with my buddy Jake before we were about to go to a hockey game, and he like had to take the controller away from me. He was just like, watching you play this game is giving me anxiety because you are. You are chaos incarnate. And he does not plan his moves at all. I think I said that as kind of a throwaway comment earlier, but like now it's like Garrett watching me play. He's just, every 2 seconds he's like, Jesus Christ, how are you still alive? Anyway, I know it's been fun. And anyway, long jumping into walls constantly, and somehow like jumping off a platform, doing some tech I've never seen before that looks very inefficient, and just somehow still makes it back to the ledge and doesn't die. And just like goes on in my merry way. Well, that was fun. And I'm just like sweating bullets. So it's been brutal. So we'll count that as part of games I've played this year. But and he did get to the festival part in New Donk City. And I feel like that's like, I told him when you started playing, like, you have to at least get to that part, even if you don't finish the game. Oh, that is such a celebration of Mario. Like, just a love letter to any Mario, lifetime Mario fan. So that was a feel good. It's impossible not to have a smile on your face when you're doing that level. So he got at least there, and you made like 3 or 4. You'll probably beat it before you go back. Like, you're pretty far in. I'm loving it. So that's been fun. Outside of that, we've had some pretty amazing Tekken games. So that's been great. and some Smash. Oh, we had a Smash marathon.
Last night we played for like a few hours.
Like it's been like next day, sore jaw from laughing and sore abs. But yeah, it's been pretty amazing. Yeah.
We've definitely made up for the past couple of years of not being able to do this. So,
yeah.
And where I live now is pretty close to where our parents live. So it's like less of a chore to like get Matt over here.
Yeah.
While he's home. So you've been able to be here pretty much every day.
Yeah, I know exactly. So it's been awesome. This is the perfect Christmas kind of break, as far as I'm concerned. So
same.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So those DLCs, play them if you haven't. They're absolutely fantastic. We'll move into what I wanted to do is like pick one, or I told Matt to reflect on this a little too, for us to just pick, because like I said, we're only going to do this. We only sort of set out to do at least 6, and then we'll just see if we want to keep going. And obviously a year later we decided to keep going.
Yeah.
Because it's been a lot of fun. And so because we're about a year in, by the time we record our next episode, it'll be like past a year at that point. I bet
you. Yeah.
It was like early January before you went on your trip or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So in light of that, we just wanted to think of 1 or 2 highlights for the year. So we'll just ping pong. I'll go 1, you go 1.
Sure.
I have 2 that I thought of. And so we'll just go back and forth.
Yeah.
So one of them was legitimately actually having people who have channels way bigger than ours and our 30 subscribers agreed to come on to do interviews with me. Starting with Tara, who I've followed for a long time. Because she was the first one I asked, I was like, there's no fucking way. And not anything against her. It's like, why would she waste her time? At that point, we had like 10 subscribers or something. Like, we just started. Because we did hers, I think, in like January.
That was early.
Very early.
Yeah.
And like immediately, like, that'd be so much fun. I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Do you know what I asked? Did you misread my question?
Yeah.
And so, the fact that I think we had 5 total. 5 total guests.
I think so, yeah.
We'll go through them when we go with our questions. I think it was 5. That they all had much bigger channels than ours and decided to come on. And that was so much fun. I'm absolutely going to keep pestering people to come on to do interviews and stuff. Because I love doing that kind of thing and just, trying to find some good questions to ask, and because there are a lot of questions I genuinely want to just ask them anyway outside of a podcast. That's one of my highlights for sure, is actually being mind blown that so many people actually decided to say yes and come on and be a part of the podcast. So
man, and like just to think of the people that have been on this, and it's just been such an honor to have it was neat because I get to watch those as a fan. Because especially I think there was at least TeraC, but when I was in New Zealand away, and so
I think we did Silver Deeds was when you were still away too.
Yeah. So I got to kind of watch those while we were traveling, and so I was like, oh man, I get to watch this podcast. It's a great podcast. That was really cool. For me, fave moments, kind of a general comment, but like the nostalgia section that we did kind of at the beginning, which was maybe not the impetus for this podcast, but was a good jump off point to kind of dive into some even lore, if you want to call it. But that was really fun.
And what's fun about it is like, I thought I remembered all the main, like all the big stories or big memories.
Yeah.
And then there's some I would bring up that you wouldn't remember. And there's a lot that you brought up that I could not remember at all.
Or even holes or context.
Right. And so it was just like, it was like that satisfying sort of like nostalgia memory bank that you go back to. And like, it got bigger for me because now, that too. Like some of the things you brought up
Yeah.
Especially in the earlier years, because you're older, the older brother, so your memory was better for those or some of the earlier stuff,
which was not insignificant at that age. Say,
right,
6 years old versus 4 years old, big difference or something. So, all the nostalgia stuff, especially because the NES was just that's an anchor store pillar of my, I don't know, childhood, and like now, like, gaming's a big part of what I like to do, but like NES was just like, our third parent, kind of thing. So we have a lot of good memories there.
And when we both think about the NES, like our memories, it feels like we had that NES for like 10 years.
Oh yeah.
But it was like 4, maybe like 3 or 4 before we got a super, like, but it's like that memory is so, the memory well of that is so deep that and that's just because of how significant it was to us, is it just feels like it was years and years and years and years, and it wasn't that long.
No.
Because we got the NES late, so it's like this SNES was, not that far away by the point
I know
we got to it.
It's crazy. Like, it feels like a decade. Like, the NES decade. No, it was like
4 years. 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. So anyway, I liked all the nostalgia ones, and I know that encompassed several episodes, but that was really fun.
Those are always fun to go back to.
And anyone who has similar nostalgic memories, whatever, like, for sure, put your own comments, because those are always fun.
Yeah. The other one that I had a lot of fun doing, and then a lot of fun watching again when I was editing, was when we did that stupid game where we had to just pick video game things.
Oh yeah, that was
throw one away, and like not thinking about the combination of really dumb things we had. There was the we could grind enemies, but there's no XP, and we could jump, but only a foot off the ground, and like just because I would even like I didn't think about putting them together at the end. I just thought, these will be funny to put against each other. I wasn't even thinking that.
I was thinking of them as just independent questions. But then when you made a game out of that, Frankenstein, it was really funny. So that was really fun. Yeah.
I think I did I'm not good at making YouTube shorts because I don't fully know how to do them right, but I did figure out how to do one for that, because there was just one point when I think it was when we realized that we can kill respawning enemies but not level up. That we both just lost it, and that was really funny to go back and watch again.
That's a good one.
That was like one of my favorite games we did.
Especially things that became shorts are some good memories. I also really liked I feel like it was a 2 or maybe even 3 episode arc of the music, video game music. Because that's just such a part of my life, and I listen to video game music all day, every day at work. So to kind of just break that down and think about things a little more seriously, that was really cool. That was really fun.
I think when we did our last episode, we talked about our Spotify Wrapped.
And
how they were dominated by
exactly.
video game music.
No question. I feel like it'd be like, you could go top 20 or top 30. Like, you wouldn't get to a normal song until like 30 or 40 in. So
it is something that we both love very deeply, and it's just like, it almost feels like you're not in a not gatekeeping, because it's not like I get mad at other people for not liking the music or things like that, but it's like it feels like you're just part of like a special club where it's like you just like, when you appreciate, or especially when you like understand the significance of a music piece and why it's being used during this boss fight or whatever, like that just adds so much enjoyment to the game for me, that it feels like, man, there are people that are not even getting this layer. Now there's people that don't give a shit and don't even have them music turned on when they're playing. Then that's fine. But it's just like, it's such a part of the experience for me to listen to the music and like get so much more out of playing the game
Yeah.
from the music or whatever. So.
And just and I think a good example of that is when we were talking about the Genova fight. And just like how that starts out really subtle and creepy and builds and builds and builds, and then just like, this is full blown fucking Genova. And anyway, and it's just like this matters to me, and I don't know what to do emotionally about
just
this.
Like just scream. I couldn't contain it.
And so it's just like I can't like contain my joy of just the music. Like, and it's like, yeah, there's a whole game going on here, but like just the music is so perfectly done to that. And so I really liked when we talked about that. And I think there's a good YouTube short that you made for that too.
Yeah.
But in terms of a more relevant 2023 kind of thing was with FF16 did a really good job of that too, I think, where there's certain times where it just like pause and like this game is amazing and just the music is really kind of killing me right now. Soken
he rarely misses with not just like the quality of his compositions, but like how he uses music in the game and like calls back melodies and he's so good.
And I mean the demo and the way that the music played in with the boss fight when you're fighting that Morbol, that for me was like light switch, like, well, I'm buying this game now. Like, and I feel like the music is what like pushed me over the edge. I mean, obviously the gameplay was incredible, but it was just like, nope, this game. So the music discussion is one of my favorite things that we did.
Because I remember when I was like prepping that episode, I was like, all right, especially when it was like Final Fantasy music specifically. I was like, all right, like if I get some time today, I'll, in my notebook, like
scribble,
jot out, and it was like 10 minutes. Like, well, I got like 7 pages, so I think we're good.
I didn't need to set a list. I could have done this on the fly.
So that's an easy topic for me to talk about for sure. That's all. Those are the two main highlights I had. I don't know if you had any further ones.
I'd say quickly, kind of the other ones were. I also just really loved how the theme of this year was. We eventually just start talking about Final Fantasy VII. I like that. Like that wasn't a plan, obviously, and like I'd say I would honestly try not to. Like it was an honest like. Let's try to stay away. And
I would say, and tell me if this is the same for you, it's less that, I can talk about Final Fantasy VII here. It's more that I'll just start talking about it. I'm like, fuck, I did it again.
It was just kind of like, I just naturally like fell into this wormhole kind of thing. But I feel like they would always add to the conversation.
Yeah, for sure. It's because we just love that game so much. It's not like we talk about it just for the sake of talking. It's because we're relating it to whatever, but it's, I never regret bringing it up. It's just funny how much we're not talking about it this time. And like my friend Blair especially will listen like, in quotes, okay, we're not talking about FF7 this time. 20 minutes later, 30-minute discussion about this one piece of music from Final Fantasy VII. Like, look, I don't know what to tell you. It's just going to happen.
It's just going to happen. And, hey, this podcast is just as much for us as it is for you. But so anyways, I found that really funny. And I like that it happens like literally organically. And then the other one for me is maybe more of a high-level comment is like, this was a cool... memory for me is just this is a cool way for me to and the way that I kind of wrote it here is to own my gaming kind of personality again. Like it's always been kind of like I game, but just to,
when you have time,
when I have time, and it's like, I'm a gamer, but like, I do cool things too. But now it's been like, no, like I'm a gamer and I love gaming, and it's part of who I am. And this year has been cool for me to stop thinking of that as a taboo.
Stigma.
And so it's been neat because there've been times this year where I've been in like a course or something. It's like, oh, tell us something interesting about you. And it's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I have I'm a frequent guest on a podcast with my brother.
Co-host. You're a guest. You're co-host.
Co-host. And they're just like, about what? It's like, oh, about video gaming. And it's like, what? Really? And it's like, yeah, it's on YouTube. You can see it. Whereas, previously I might have just been like, don't worry about it. But it's been a way for me to embrace my gaming roots again. So, that's been cool for me. Kind of more being who I am and not disguising anything. So, that's been cool for me.
Embracing it.
Yeah.
And I feel like just talking about it more often than just once a year at Christmas.
Yeah.
It just has me like thinking about games more, like not critically, but like
I know what you mean.
Like more in depth.
Yeah.
As we go, because it's like I want to think about talking points for the podcast or whatever, and it's like so I'll maybe like think deeper on certain things as I'm playing them or whatever. Like I don't know. I feel like I get a little more, maybe even a little more appreciation for the games I'm playing now because I'm.
Why do I like this?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah,
like trying to think about why it hit me so hard or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And kind of for me it's been two really good things. Like so they're kind of part of the reason why I've just embraced this so much more and been way happier this year, has been because it's a creative outlet for me.
Yes.
Making this podcast with you, right? Like it's
Same.
like, what do you draw? Do you paint? Whatever. It's like, no, my brother and I do a podcast and it's, we think about this kind of stuff. So it's been kind of a creative space.
Definitely. It definitely hits the creative itch for me too.
Yeah.
Cause I think I maybe said this on like one of our first episodes, but it's like I used to stream a decent amount, like not to a very. I had like, 10 regular people that would often come watch.
Yeah.
But it's like don't really like that platform as much anymore. It's pretty toxic, and there's a lot of people that just want a backseat game, and it's like I would try to go back to it every couple months. I'm like I don't want to do this, but like I liked the creative sort of itch that it gave me, right? So this really just kind of fed into that thing that I felt like I was missing. So definitely a creative outlet for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of gives me that space where I don't have a lot of creativity in my work and stuff like that.
Same.
So it's kind of nice to do that. But also it's almost like this is the thing that I like to do. My job requires me to be pretty extroverted, but I'm quite introverted in a lot of ways. So just playing games has been kind of like, look, I like playing games. Hey, Matt, you want to do something this weekend? No, I'm playing a game this weekend, and that's okay. Kind of just embracing the whole, like, I want to do something for me this weekend, and it doesn't always need to be going to a party or whatever. Like, it's like, no more FOMO and any of that. Like, I want to play a game. That's what I want to do. And if people don't like that, they can suck it. So, like, whatever. So, it's been kind of nice to be like, I need to do things for me and things that I like. And playing games and talking about games with you are things that I really like. So, yeah.
We'll build Matt up to taking, like, a full week off for a game at some point.
yeah. Fast forward, like 2024, 2-week staycation. Yeah.
No, I know. Avina is not a big gamer, so I'm sure she. I won't lock you down to that commitment.
Oh, whatever. Anyways, as long as we'll get some Tekken in, and and we'll.
I will say you definitely got to FF16 like real fast.
Oh yeah.
That was one that I feel like a year ago you would have probably got around to eventually or whatever. Not for a dislike of anything about it, just making time for it or whatever. So you got into that like super fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean I kind of attribute that to, just embracing things that I want to do, and also that goddamn demo.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I didn't play it because I knew I'd feel exactly the way you felt.
Oh yeah.
Where like, why can't I play this yet?
Yeah, and to me it was like going. I'll talk about this later, but going from like, we'll see when I get around to that. Like, FF7 is my raison d'etre and all other ones like, I'll get to it if I can. I'll play this demo. It's free. And it's like, God damn it. This is the only thing I want in my life right now. And so, I mean, like, fucking good demo.
Yeah.
They hooked me. So, I mean, if they did that to, million other people, like, whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that accomplished its goal.
For sure.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all I had. So.
Cool. Yeah, there's a few that I kind of forgot about. So those are some good highlights. Okay, what we'll do now is we're just going to go briefly over our actual completed list of games.
Okay.
And then we'll take a quick break, and then we'll go into we'll start getting into the question phase and some of the game trailer game that we have. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first? As I said at the top of the show, this is not a competition. I have way more time to play games than Matt does. So I didn't want him to feel inferior in any way.
Nope.
But I still think it's worth highlighting the games that we both got through this year. Maybe let's start with yours, because most of the questions will be related to mine, to my list, so that'll be a little more fresh. So yeah, we'll start with yours.
Perfect. And no, I feel I'm very happy with my list. I feel pretty accomplished in what I was able to do, but like, buckle up, because his list is insane, absolutely insane. I remember I started off in January with Guardians of the Galaxy, because that was like,
that was this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or sorry, I played it this year.
Yeah. So that's a good disclaimer, because I have games on my list that have come out a year or two ago, or more. But these are not 2023 games. These are just games that we've rolled credits on essentially during 2023. Yeah. So that's a good distinction.
Yep. And so I remember I had like downloaded it around Christmas time last year, and it was kind of like, this New Zealand trip's coming up soon. I need something to play. I don't want it to be too heavy. I was like, Square Enix had a Guardians of the Galaxy game. It seems pretty fun. It was cheap enough, and I downloaded it long ago. So I think this is probably and that was fun. All I did was a story mode. The writing was really good. The music was awesome. Yep. I
nailed that part for sure.
Really like that. That kind of got me through January. Here in Canada, January is terrible.
So one thing I'll say about that game, which I like, compared to, because I did play the Avengers game. Yep. I didn't like that as much. Yep. Like, didn't really like it all that much. Those are very similar types of games, not in terms of because Avengers was very live servicey, whatever, but just like group up superhero games, right? Yep. And what I like that Guardians of the Galaxy did is they went all in on designing Peter's controls and moves. Yes. Yeah. They just give you abilities to command your partners to do, and I do feel like Avengers would have been a better game. Now, it wouldn't have worked as a live service game doing it that way. Yeah. But that's why I didn't like that they were doing that. Yeah.
The Avengers game, I felt similarly. I was like,
they all play kind of okay. Yeah. None of them are really super fun.
Yeah, exactly. And so this was like, I like the whole do this, do that, do this. Same. Story was good. The writing was good. Yep. The dialogue was good. So that I was like, I need a game for January, because I'm going on a huge 8-week trip here soon. I need something to do. This will be a fun ride. So that February, it's funny, in my 2023 wrap up, it was just like, February, what happened? Because I had no games.
You were gone.
I was in New Zealand. Yeah, so my only gaming outlet was essentially talking to you.
PlayStation was shaming you.
Yeah, PlayStation literally shaming me. So look, okay, fuck off. February I was away. And then I was away most, I'd say half of January. But I did complete Guardians of the Galaxy. Didn't platinum it, just because I was either. That it just seemed like a whole to-do. So
yeah, I just beat it.
Yeah, exactly. Rolled credits is fine. February, nothing. Shame from PlayStation. Halfway through March, got back, and then, because I bought Crisis Core, and that arrived before I left. I had that at Christmas, and I remember being like, I can't play this.
Right.
Because if I start playing this and then have to go away for 8 weeks, like it's gonna be that weird, like almost anxiety.
Yeah. And then you like won't be super into it when you get back because you gotta remember what you were doing.
Yeah.
And,
no, I was like, I can't have an 8-week interruption in that game. So as soon as I got back, pumped in FF7, Crisis Core. So that was my March and April.
Mhm.
And then May played the demo of of 16. Yeah. But then it was you had said, oh, you should play 15.
Yep.
And so I gave 15 a shot. Not really my cup of tea. Just for the first little bit. I think I will revisit it, and I think I'll get into it. But the only thing that I really played in May was 15.
Yeah.
This gets into like really busy conference season for me for work.
That's a busy time for you.
So May I didn't really do much. June I didn't play anything. Again, shame from from PlayStation wrap up. Just I'm literally week at a conference. So
you were busy this summer.
Then July FF16. That consumed me for August and July, August, and September. So that's all I played, and I'm very happy. I had a very good, fall. Then God of War that took up my October and November, and so got platinum on
16.
Platinum on Crisis Core. Platinum on.
You got the platinum on Crisis Core?
Yep.
Oh, I still haven't.
Oh yeah.
I did do that.
Minerva fight or something?
No. There's like the one mission where it's like kill 1,000 enemies or whatever. Yeah. I did that at least because I knew that was going to be just like long and like potentially annoying if I died at the end or something.
Yeah.
But I just looked at how many missions there still were. I was like, not right now.
Oh man, no. I did that fight like a few times to grind. Like, I love that fight.
Yeah.
So I got platinum on Crisis Core.
Damn. Okay.
Platinum on 16. Then platinum on God of War.
Okay.
And then December was mostly just playing Ever Crisis. And then Resident Evil 4.
You're like near the end of that.
Yeah.
So you put a good, and you got here on like the 20 something.
Yep. Yeah.
So like in like the 3 weeks of December, you got like really far in RE4.
Oh, sorry. And I guess RE3. I played that as well.
That's right. You played, which is like a 2-sitting game.
Yeah, so I told Garrett, like, I played it in the morning, then like had lunch, and then went back downstairs and beat it that evening.
I mean, did it in 2 sittings.
It was a day of gaming, but as we discussed, the quarter that I've had, I needed, or especially in that last week of work, I needed like a day of like, no one bother me. I'm playing games all day. I'm going to start and finish RE3 today. So RE3 and then RE4. I was hoping to beat it. I played it like for a couple of hours before I got on the train and to the airport to come here. I thought I was going to beat it, but I think I'm pretty close.
He's on the island for anyone that knows how far that is. So you're pretty close to the end. And
then the DLCs that we talked about, but that was my year, so I'm pretty happy with that.
That is, I feel like, more than your normal year.
Yeah.
So the podcast definitely lit a fire.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
Under you. So Okay, so I think I might have briefly gone through these on one of the last podcasts, but this is like the finalized list, just as a reminder. And then when we come back and we go into like the question sort of section, I'll actually put a list up over on this side of the screen, just so that people can kind of see the games that I'm trying to think about answers for.
Exactly.
Some of these questions. So,
it'll be, you won't be able to remember this list.
Exactly.
You'll need them up on the screen.
Need it there for reference. Start of the year was Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I really liked Pokemon Diamond back in the day. I think that was on DS. And so they remade that on Switch and I picked it up. Hi-Fi Rush. Fucking love that game. That was a shadow drop, and I think that came out in February. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. I had that on Wii U, but I never actually beat it. And the new version, like the Definitive Edition on Switch, had like all the DLC characters.
Oh, okay.
And, so it was very robust. Persona 5 Strikers. I was clearly in the Dynasty Warriors mood playing those two games back to back because they're like made exactly the same kind of way. Fire Emblem Engage, played that. Metroid Prime Remastered.
Page 2.
Yeah, it got 5 pages.
Yeah.
Because I'll explain what these are for later.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Theatrhythm, platinum that one. That was super fun to platinum. Hard, very difficult, and it took, I think, like 70 or 80 hours to actually do the platinum for that. But it was so fun.
That's crazy.
Really liked it. When actually the FF16 DLC came out for it with the 16 song tracks.
Yeah.
That's when I like kind of got back into it because I wanted to play those, and I was like, oh man, let me see how many trophies I have.
Yeah, and I remember you saying like, I can probably get the platinum here.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
And that because that landed somewhere between like 2 of my big games, so it was a nice game to sort of grind to. Octopath Traveler 2. I did Resident Evil 4 Remake back in March.
Yeah.
Forspoken, picked that up and beat it. So I wrote this just because the time I put into it. So the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters 1 through 6, I did buy those on Steam, as we've discussed how many times I've bought multiple Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
I did buy those on Steam when they came out like a year ago, but I didn't 100% them. I just played through them normally for, a normal playthrough.
Yeah.
The reason I bought them again is because when they came out on PlayStation, they all had trophies. And of course, I had to platinum all of them, and I did. So they weren't first-time completions in this year, but I felt I 100% in all of them for the first time. And so I'm including that because it was like I looked at the time per title, and it was like 104 hours to get them all. To do that. So
still, that's amazing.
That was so much fun. I really liked.
I remember when because you'd be going through those, and I'd log in and be like, oh, he's on 2 now. Oh, he's on 3.
Yeah, because I did them in order.
Yeah,
like I went,
yeah.
I didn't jump around. I did them like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. So I watched you kind of just through logins. Watching your progress.
What I was up to at that point.
Yeah.
The Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed DLC. I'm including that because it was like 40 hours. Tears of the Kingdom. 100%ed that one.
Couple of hours on that one.
Yeah, 200 plus. I think it was like 201 or 203. I went and checked because I was like, man, I know it was around the 200 mark. Final Fantasy 16 platinumed. Elden Ring. I think I put like 150 hours into that game. That one consumed me. Street Fighter 6. I didn't beat that game because I didn't actually finish like the story mode because it's pretty long, but I put like 100 hours.
Yeah, I was about to say, how many hours?
I'm putting it in.
Yeah.
I'm including it. Remnant from the Ashes. I did co-op with a couple friends getting through that game. Dead Space Remake. Baldur's Gate 3. That was like 150 hours.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Armored Core 6. It was really fun. Super Mario Wonder. Spider-Man 2 Platinum. Super Mario RPG. Pretty much 100%ed. Mostly just didn't do the 100 jumps because I can't.
Yeah.
And then Persona 5 Tactica. That was my last major game. And then the DLCs.
Man. Horizon Forbidden West. That might have been one I did this year, or was that last year? That was on my list, but I feel like that might be part of my because I
did the DLC this year. I feel like
that's maybe what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think maybe the game.
Telling me about the DLC.
Yeah. Okay. So I was like, was Forbidden. Yeah, I think that was last year. Yeah.
And because I feel like it would have showed up on your PlayStation thing if you was the main game because it would have been a lot longer.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, why? Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So, we definitely did talk about the DLC. Like, I think on one of the podcasts.
Have you played that yet?
No, still not yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You haven't had time?
I haven't had time. There's a few of those that I haven't gotten to because I can't yet.
I am super excited to play Spider-Man when there is a break at some point. But because, I haven't played that yet.
When do you go back?
True. On the 2nd.
Okay.
That might be tight.
Yeah. I don't know if you could. I don't know. You wouldn't want to rush it. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah,
it is fun to like take your time through that game. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get to it because I loved the first one, and Miles Morales was fun too.
And I think I said I platinumed that one. I don't know if I did, but yeah, I platinumed that one too. And really very generous platinum, like nothing stupidly hard to do or whatever. So So that's my list.
Man.
So we'll go. Yeah, this year was insane.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like amount of games and there's some that like I was gonna buy and wanted to play, but like I was just like Sea of Stars. I actually did buy that one, but I didn't get very far in it.
Yeah.
Because something else came out, and there's like a Star Ocean remake of this old JRPG on PS1. I really wanted to, but I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Not enough hours in a day.
Yeah. So those will be on the backlog, and for I don't know when I'll have downtime in 2024 because it's already starting to get pretty stacked.
Yeah.
But those are always just nice to have on the back burner anyway. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the list. We'll take a break, and then we'll go through our side quest guest questions.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
And then we'll do the game trailers game, and then we'll go to your questions.
Perfect.
And then we'll wrap up with our game of the year picks.
Cool.
The year. So,
sounds good.
So we'll take a quick break, and you guys just stick around. And yeah, this next part, I've been waiting specifically for this part for a while. I'm excited for this. So we'll get into that shortly.
Cool. All right. See you guys soon.
See ya. Hey everybody, welcome back. We'll continue our GOTY discussion here. So actually what I'll do really quick is, I could have done this before we came back, but I'm going to do it now.
Whatevs.
So since I just went over my list, and I'll just make sure this is still going to do what I want it to do. Yeah, it should be. Okay. So yeah, since we went over my list, I'm going to put it up on the screen because for the next little bit, we're mostly going to be talking about this list of games. So what we're going to do, what I've done is, what I was alluding to earlier, is this past week, what I've kind of done is, knowing I was going to have a lot of these questions, and I don't want to like sit here and think for like 5 minutes for each question, because I really wanted to go with sort of like a gut response for what Matt is going to ask and what the guests are going to ask. So I kind of like took my list of games, and just from memory, like sitting and reflecting on those games, I just kind of wrote down bullet points of like things I remember liking about the game, like specific moments or like a boss fight or whatever. Just things I could think of.
When your list is that long.
It took a while.
Like I could see how you need to like have a few cheat sheet data points.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't like intimately remember playing each of these games.
And without having it, not being able to do that quickly. So it took some time, and I kind of just developed like some talking points that I remember liking about that game just from memory.
I also like how it's just like Pixel Remaster 1 through 6.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna put them all. I wasn't gonna put them all down.
Man, wow, that's amazing. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So if you guys just see me flipping through paper, that's what it is, and I'm gonna use this to we'll try to give maybe like a 15-second. That'll sort of be like my attempt to give you an answer for your questions. The guest questions, I'll if I need a little more time, because they took time to give those questions, I might elaborate a little more on those. But for your questions, we'll mostly go, unless you want it more in depth, or like depending on the question. But anyway, so if you guys see or hear me flipping through paper, it's just my cheat sheet.
It's because he has not seen any of these questions beforehand.
That's a good distinction, actually. I told Matt to not show me these questions, and even as much as I could with the questions from our guests, I tried to just get them to email them to me, and then I forward them off, without really looking at them at all. So most of these I should be, pretty much hearing for the first time, and that's why I kind of need this sort of cheat sheet to try to give like an accurate answer.
And for you, just to essentially re-immerse yourself into that game again.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I took time to do that this week, so that I have those memories sort of bubbling near the top for some of these questions. So
perfect. Cool.
So we'll see how this works logistically. If I have to split these up because it's too hard to flip between them, we'll just figure that out as we go.
Perfect.
So let's start. Like I said, we'll start with the questions from our guests for our side quest episodes.
I love a good side quest, so we might as well start with the side quest episodes.
We'll do those.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, from Sophie, aka Ms. Cupcakes. So she asked, what was your favorite soundtrack of 2023?
Okay, so the cheat answer is Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm, because it has all of them. But I feel like that's an easy out.
Still, okay, that's a good answer, but let's go. Going outside of the games that are solely dedicated to the soundtrack of some of the best video games of all time. Maybe there's another one you could pick.
Yeah. Like I said, that's the cheat answer. I'm pretty sure it's got to be Final Fantasy 16. I love that OST so much. I love Soken's work because I play a lot of FF14. I will give a close second to Persona 5 Tactica because I was Octopath Traveler though. Shit. It's 16. It's 16.
Okay.
Octopath Traveler is right. I would say even that would be my honorable mention behind instead of Persona 5 Tactica. Tactica is a great soundtrack, but Octopath, my God, that game barely missed with its sound. But I love Soken's work so much. So yeah, 16 is what I'll say.
For me, I'd say 16, and but close. We'll say honorable mention for me because it's not on your list. God of War.
Sure.
But 16 is the runaway winner for me.
I feel like
even on your list. Yeah.
And I feel like it added the most to the gameplay. Man, Octopath did too, though. But yeah, 16 just had. Soken is just he's a genius. So yeah, I would give it to that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cupcakes, for your question. So
thank you very much.
Great.
I appreciate that.
Let's go. Okay, so Brad Ellis from Easy Allies had a couple of questions. So he asked, with so many great games coming out this year, which we alluded to, how did you guys decide what to play? Did you go for familiar franchises like Zelda or Final Fantasy? Or did you make an effort to dig into indie spaces and maybe play something outside your wheelhouse? So...
And Brad Ellis, true professional, clearly a journalist.
Yeah.
Great question. For me, luckily, thank God, Zelda and FF16 didn't come out at the exact same time. They were close. I think I finished 100%ing Tears of the Kingdom like less than a week before 16 came out. Like, it was very close.
I know, and I remember when that timeline, and you were just like, I'm hoping to beat this before 16 comes out. And I was like, are you crazy?
Yeah, because it came out like mid... It was almost exactly a month. It was like May 20-something, and then 16 was June 20-something. I can't remember the exact date. But I would definitely say whatever I was playing when either of those come out, they get immediately put on the back burner. For me, that's why I'm saying I'm glad they didn't. Zelda and Final Fantasy 16 didn't come out at the same time, because I genuinely don't know which one I would have paused. Or which one I would have stuck to first. I probably would have bounced between them. I really don't.
I don't like that. I have to like. I find that hard.
That would be hard.
I have to make a decision, play it until I'm done, and then move on. But that would be a Sophie's choice. That'd be really hard.
If it had the first answer is for sure. Anything I'm playing would get paused for Zelda or Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
If let's say I had to pick between 16 and let's say they came out the same week, I probably would have done 16 first because it was new story, new characters, didn't know what was going to happen.
Yep.
Tears of the Kingdom it is a Breath of the Wild sequel, so I kind of knew what to expect to a degree, but obviously there were a lot of surprises.
Yeah.
But I think I would have bumped 16 just because it was all new.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I would have done.
I think for me, I prioritize the heavy hitters, like the thing, the Final Fantasies, the Resident Evils, things that I know are my brand or whatever.
Sure.
And then suggestions from you.
Sure.
And then because I don't have much. And I think for you, then you kind of fill the space in between with other things.
Yeah. So when he's talking about like some indie spaces and stuff like that, that's when I would find some like smaller games, maybe games I didn't beat, so like they're not necessarily on this list.
Yeah.
But smaller games like Sea of Stars was one that I picked up between.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to finish it yet.
And so I rely on you a lot for that because I know you dive into. I remember like near Automata, I definitely wouldn't have even considered that unless you were like, no, trust me, Platinum Games,
just not on your radar. Yeah.
Because I was like, anyway, there's no familiarity at all, and then that's like one of my favorite games. So
we talked about if only we had a podcast when we were playing that game.
Seriously,
we had a lot of long texts about that one.
Yeah, I should go revisit that. Anyways, okay, good answers.
Cool. Thanks, Brad. Really appreciate your question.
So he had a second question.
Oh, perfect.
So he said, and I really like this question. There were a ton of great performances this year. What stood out to you the most? He says, for me, Ben Starr as Clive was the clear winner. And I like the word that he uses here. His performance was so raw, and I could really feel the emotion and passion from his performance. God. Nobody shook me to my core like him as Clive this year.
Man, great question, Brad. Looking at my list,
I'm going to interpret this as
voice performance. Yeah, that's how I read it. Man, Baldur's Gate 3 had so many good ones. There's a character called Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate 3, and I like fell in love with that character. This is hard. Why do I do this to you?
My buddy Jake will be really happy to hear for Baldur's Gate 3 getting some love. So
honorable mention that specifically, I think her name's Jennifer English for Shadowheart.
And if your answer is not Clive, I won't take away your Final Fantasy card. But be honest,
I love Jill so much in 16.
Oh, yeah, fair.
It's between Jill or Sid, because that's definitely my favorite Sid of any Final Fantasy.
True.
But I think I just got gut punched by Jill more.
Yeah, fair.
And I love Clive is right up there. I just love Ben Starr. Anything he does on social media is so funny. I love that guy. He's so fucking funny. So I want to give it to him because he's just, but I think Jill was the one that had me emotionally destroyed, the most. I was so pulled into her story and her character, but I'm so sorry, Shadowheart. I love Shadowheart so much, but Jill's the one that stuck with me long after the game was over.
Yeah.
I'd say
fair.
It's Jill.
Jill, her performances were so good. But there's so many bits of dialogue with Clive that just goosebumps.
Yeah.
He went through an emotional.
He really went all in on that part, man.
Yeah. I don't. Forgive me. The performance for Kratos. Voice acting.
Chris Judge. Is that his name? I think Chris Judge.
That was so powerful.
That's
as well.
Right. Ragnarok is on your list for this year.
Yeah,
man, he's so good in that game.
Yeah. So I think I might need to go Clive. Just there are so many times where I just kind of emotionally was just embraced in that game because of his performance. So
yeah.
Anyway, not just to agree with our question here, but anyways.
Also, if I'm getting this name right, Susanna Fielding, I believe, is Jill's voice.
Jill? Okay, nice.
I'm bad at remembering her name just because I see Ben Starr on Twitter so much more often that his name is just more front of mind. But
I kind of didn't even think of Jill, and yeah, it's a real gut punch. So
when she gives her speech in the what's it called, the Iron Kingdom? Is that what that place is? The one where she was like basically held.
Yeah.
When she gives her speech to that like priest guy.
Yeah.
Ugh, I got chills just thinking about it. Yeah. She would be my top, but it's close between Clive and Shadowheart. God, I love Shadowheart so much.
Sid was such a good performance.
And
too,
Sid, fuck. This game sucks.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
All right, well, let's move on. There's some good. Okay, so
thanks, Brad.
Yeah, thanks, man. Those are great questions. Okay, so from Purpleschala. So thanks for your questions here. I got 3 questions. Favorite unit in Fire Emblem Engage?
What's her name? Yunaka, I think is her name.
Okay. I haven't played this, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, she's like a rogue. She joins you as like a rogue type character, and she's got a really cool backstory where it's like, I feel like she was sort of like raised by these like thieves or assassins, and they like, I don't remember if they killed her parents or anyway, she was raised by these assassins, and like at one point they like wanted to set her free, but like they paid her enough to get away from this life, but the payment was for her to kill him because he was dying or something like that. Man. I don't remember the exact details. This was like January. But I remember Yunaka.
You need to consult your notes.
No, I didn't actually write her name down. Her, and she's voiced by, I'm not going to remember her name, but she does a voice of a character in Persona 5.
Nice.
That I really like, and I noticed immediately, like she's got one of those like, not lower voice, but kind of like almost raspy sort of voice. And it's like super recognizable.
Okay.
And so as soon as I heard her, I was like, I looked up, I'm like, yeah, that's her. Kasumi in Persona 5. Yeah, she's probably my favorite. She's the first one that comes to mind when I think about it. So that is probably safe to go.
Question 2, a game I have not played, but I want to play. Your favorite traveler in Octopath Traveler 2?
Ochette, best girl. She's like the hunter character, and she's voiced by Susie. I'm not gonna get her last name right, but the voice actor of Yuffie.
Really?
Intergrade.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I think it's like Susie. I'm not even gonna bother trying because I'm gonna get it wrong. But she's like a hunter, and she's sort of like this like kind of beastmen type race in that game, and she does this like really adorable like growl sound when she attacks sometimes, and this super adorable howl on like the victory screen, so, like once in a while when you win a battle. Yeah. And it's like literally, I remember I was playing the game with I was playing it, and a friend of mine in Discord was like watching me play because I was just streaming it in there. And like the first time we had that fight with that character, and she did her little howl. Maybe I'll try to find a clip of it and put it in this so people can see it.
No!
I was like, I love it. I was like, I will die for this character. It's like immediately. And her story was really cool too.
Nice.
But yeah, 100% Ochette.
I want to play both those games, and because the soundtrack for the first one, I know that by heart, just because I've listened to it nonstop. That was probably on my Spotify Wrapped like last year. So anyway, I'll have to find a way. I think I just need to get a Switch or something. But
the second one's on PS, and they're not they're like Final Fantasy.
Okay.
I don't even think it's the same world. I'm pretty sure. So and the second one is just better in every way. So yeah, you could jump right to the second one.
Okay, good. Okay, third question from Purpleschala, and so thanks again for your questions.
Thank you.
Favorite aspect of Forspoken. So she says curious because it got a lot of negative press, and I don't know many people who played it. So your favorite aspect of that game?
Sure, and it had some issues for sure. I did play it. I think I picked it up in like April, so it was like a couple months after it had come out. So there were some patches and stuff like that fixed some of the rough spots. So number one, like the big you do attacks and like you build up to like an ultimate sort of because there's like 4 elements, I think. And you like build up a charge and then you can do a massive spell. Yeah. And like that looks fucking cool when you do those big big fire spell, and it's like all the smokes were like rushing past you, and like it animates so well. Like I loved those. One of the coolest things that I did, and because you said like what aspect, visuals, some of the spell visuals were good, but this was the thing that I feel like added a lot to the game for me was, so do you know what I mean when I say like a weapon wheel? It's like Horizon does that and stuff like that. Yeah. This game has something like that, but that combat in that game is so like I'm hit or miss on those weapon wheels because sometimes I feel like they just slow the combat down too much. If you have to do it a lot. Horizon I think is a good balance because usually like, I know this type of weapon will be good against this enemy, so I'll switch to this and I'll be using this for a little bit or whatever. Yeah. Whereas this is like very constant because you're cycling cooldowns and it slowed it down too much. There's a setting that they added post-launch, I believe, where it will so you still had to pick one of the 4 elements, and then within each element there's like 8 moves. Yeah. And you'd have to weapon switch that every time. Yeah. Every move within an element. Sure. Which was too slow. And there's a setting where it would auto switch to a move that's not on cooldown when you use that move. Like when
I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
And because that game is about a character that's like just got these powers and doesn't know what she's doing yet. Yeah. I felt like it sort of enhanced that like narrative for me. Yeah. That she's like, I think this does something. I think that does something. Like it kind of made it feel more like she's just slinging spells that she barely knows what she's doing.
Kind of added to the flying by the seat of your pants. Yeah. Fish out of water narrative. So
So that added a lot to the gameplay experience for me. Outside of the insane spell visuals, because those were fucking cool. So those were probably the 2 things that really made me have a lot of fun with that game.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks again to Purpleschala for those questions. So that's great.
Big supporter of the podcast too, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Okay, Stephanie Stone submitted 3 questions. Okay. So she asked,
"What is something about Baldur's Gate?" Because she's obsessed with that
game. She says, "What has been the most emotionally impactful game you have ever played, and why?"
Oh shit!
So I don't know if you want to limit it to just this year, or if you want to go.
For purposes of this, I mean Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. Okay. Easy answer.
So because that's too easy, and it's Aerith's death in that game destroyed me, and every time I replay it, destroys me again and again and again. Yeah. So that's the easy answer. That I'm sure everyone knows that watches this.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we're talking
emotionally,
I'm looking at the list. I think it's probably. Oh man,
FF1 through 6 are in there too. So.
That's cheating. I know what happens in those games. So there was a really cool plot twist in one of the character stories in Octopath. 16 though. The ending of 16 fucked me up.
Yeah.
15-second rule. Sorry. only reason I won't give it to FF16 is because, like, I kind of saw the ending, the sadness of the ending coming.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit, I still cried.
Yeah.
But it didn't gut punch me out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There is a moment in Tears of the Kingdom. I don't even know if I want to say. It's been out since May. I think I can say. I don't want to in case someone hasn't played it. There's a moment when you find out, let's say, how the Master Sword got repaired. And then that gave context to one of a line that Zelda says in one of the trailers for the game.
Oh,
when I like reheard that line and understood what it meant based off what I knew after finishing the game, that was brutal.
Oh,
to like, as far as like an emotional gut punch. So outside of the FF16 ending, I think, looking at my list, I think the way they tied that together, was like very emotionally impactful. Yeah. No. I think I'll stick with that answer.
Yeah.
But like I said, runner up, very close runner up, the FF16 ending, and just a lot of parts in FF16, like Jill and Clive on the beach near the end. That was really good. But yeah, I think the Zelda part. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't even want to say what it is because it's not super spelled out for you. So I'd want someone to still discover that on their own.
All right. Well, very honorable of you. So, yeah.
Great question.
Cool. Okay. Stephanie also asks, what video game from this list here do you think deserves more attention than it got?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like Hi-Fi Rush came and went.
That's the one that was like the music.
Yeah, that came out like, hey, here's this game we've been working on. This is the first time you're seeing it, and it's out now.
Yeah.
Looking at the other ones. Baldur's Gate 3 got a lot of attention, deservedly so. Persona 5 Tactica, I feel like didn't get a ton of attention and was very good. But Hi-Fi Rush, I feel like I'll still boot that game up from time to time. They added like a kind of like an endless mode that just gets harder as you go, and I'll boot that up still just to play for an hour. That game is phenomenal. The way it incorporates the music into the gameplay and the performances in general, like the acting, and like Erica Lindbeck's in that, Robbie Damon's in that. I more people should go play Hi-Fi Rush. It's on, if anyone has Game Pass, it's on Game Pass.
Oh wow.
And it's not even a full price game if you just buy it outright. It's like, for us Canadian, it's like $45 or something.
Oh wow, cool.
More people should play Hi-Fi Rush. That game is incredible.
PS5?
No. It's Bethesda, or oh my god, what's the studio? The ones that make Evil Within. Tango Gameworks, I believe. But it's like published by Bethesda, which is Microsoft.
Oh, okay.
So like PC and Xbox.
Gotcha.
That's one that I can get you to play while you're here.
Yeah, okay, cool. Awesome.
At least to play a level or two.
Yeah. Awesome.
More people should play that game.
Stephanie's final question is, what 3 video games do you think had the most impact on the industry?
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
So Baldur's Gate 3, 100%. And I know she'll agree. It's a $80 Canadian, $80 game. No DLC, no microtransactions. They did a shitload of work to it and adding more stuff to make the game more fun. Post-launch. I've played 2 full playthroughs and like 3 Act 1 playthroughs with just different characters because I want to try different classes. And there's still stuff I will see someone else playing it and be like, I've never seen that.
Oh, wow.
It's insane how much went into that game. And they did it, in general, anyone that knows Baldur's Gate 3 knows why it's impactful, and it is 100% deserved of that title or that praise. Sorry, what was the specific?
Video game that had the most impact.
Impact.
Yeah.
That was the word I forgot. Let's see. I mean, Elden Ring, that didn't come out. Well, I know, but I played it this year.
Yep, you could still say that.
That open world design in that game is fucking amazing. That was a game where I would blink and 6 hours went by.
Oh, wow.
So that would be one, and I think a lot of people would agree there. Tears of the Kingdom. I do not understand how complex the mechanics they put in there with like your powers. I don't know how they designed that to work as well as it does to enable the creativity in the way that it does.
Yeah,
It blows my mind how because it's not complicated. It's really like you look at games sometimes like I can't think of any off the top of my head, but games where you have to like build things, like that's what they are.
Yeah,
I cannot play those because I'm terrible at that stuff.
Yeah,
I can't make the super crazy things that people make in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
but it's like the system to make it is not that complicated.
Yeah,
you just have to be able to like visualize it.
Yeah,
and I watched videos on like Twitter and like YouTube Shorts or whatever for months of the crazy shit people were making, and the size of that game. You think we knew there was the sky map because you know that was in trailers. They never showed us once the depths, which is like the underground map. And that map is fucking massive. And the first time I went down like one of the holes and discovered that, and it does this like really creepy ominous music, I was just like, and you like get to a point that lights up part of the map, and it zooms out to show you how small of a part that was. I was like, holy shit, how does this fit on a Switch cartridge? It's insane. And
I feel like that's Nintendo in a in a sentence kind of thing, is just like super simple, creative, done to perfection.
And they just gave, and it's like, you know, they broke the mold with Breath of the Wild originally by like, just climb whatever you want to climb. As long as you have enough stamina, just climb whatever mountain or a rock, no invisible walls, whatever. And Tears of the Kingdom is like the ascend ability is insane. If there's all, it's like you can just pass through any ceiling as long as like the other side of it is like traversable or whatever. And that includes if you're in the depths and you just, because that's one of the puzzles. You have to go somewhere in the depths because you can't get to the place in the main field. And you go under and you ascend all the way to the top. It's insane.
Amazing.
Yeah. That game is crazy for what they packed into that. So, yeah, I think those would be my answers. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I think that's Baldur's Gate,
Elden Ring,
and Tears of the Kingdom. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Stephanie, for your questions. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, 2 more side quests here. Like any good Zamora side quest, it's taking up more time than the main story, but we're loving every minute.
Yeah, I love this.
Okay, so from TeraCMusic. So thanks again, Tara, for your questions.
Yes, thank you.
What's your favorite dungeon or cave theme?
Oh God.
And you can limit it to the games this year or a
dungeon theme. Okay, I'm gonna cheat a little bit, and I'm gonna say a dungeon boss.
Okay, that counts. Yeah, sure.
Because like, there's a lot of good dungeon themes from 16.
Yeah. I'll say mine, and I haven't thought about these at all until just now. But in 16, the Mother Crystal on the Iron Island. It starts out like with the basics and then kind of gets bigger and bigger
as you like progress.
Anyways, for this year, that's. But anyway, was it?
Oh, sorry.
I'm giving you some time to think. It's essentially what I'm doing.
I won't cheat. I will pick an actual dungeon theme.
Okay.
The Mario RPG remake.
The
forest maze.
That is
I forget the name of the song or the actual zone, but yeah. That's technically a dungeon because it's like leading to a boss.
Forest maze or something like that.
Yeah, I think it has some fancier name of the track, but it's the Forest Maze.
Yeah.
On the remake especially, because all that music is like totally redone. That song is so good.
That was good on the SNES version. So
yeah. And again, I think, I mean, I could pick so many songs from the Pixel remasters, but that's sort of, I feel like that's cheating.
I also really liked when you're in, what is it, Oriflamme, whatever, en route to Bahamut, the dungeon there.
In 16?
In 16.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That was awesome too.
My cheat, and if this question comes up later, I'll just say it now in case it doesn't, because I'll forget to mention it. What I was going to cheat with is the Corsica boss fight in Hi-Fi Rush. That song is so good for the fight that happens.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my cheat answer if I said a boss. But if it comes up again, that's what it'll be.
TeraC also asked, what was the best cutscene you experienced?
Oh, God.
Is a hard question.
Oh, that's so hard. Look at my list again. Man, Spider-Man 2 had some good stuff, too. RE4 Remake had such good cutscenes. Oh, I mean, it's going to be 16. Which part, though?
Yeah, which of the all the cutscenes? I just kind of saw this the other day watching Mike play, but like when you are accepting your fate and facing yourself,
you like semi-prime,
and you semi-prime for the first time. That was just like, okay, this game does not stop.
No.
But I could pick any scene from that game.
Definitely some of those scenes with when you're like Clive and Joshua are like combining, fighting Bahamut and stuff. Some of that was so crazy. Okay, this is the one that bubbled to the top, so I'm gonna go with this one.
Okay.
When you confront Clive's mother, after the Bahamut fight, and all that shit that goes down, and they just watch her. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
They just watch her kill herself.
Yeah.
And not even flinch.
And then just like, okay, so
that's done now.
We go find Dion now.
Yeah. That, or when like the flashback when you see what happened with Dion in the throne room. But I think the one that bubbled to the top is for sure that moment with the three of them, like Clive, Jill, and Joshua, with confronting their mother. That was like the one I legit had to pause. I'm like, okay, like take a minute here, but like also felt like satisfying because like you hate her by that point. Probably that one. I think that would be that's the one that bubbled to the top, so I'm gonna go with that one.
I like is this the same cutscene?
Great question.
There's like where you're like, oh, you look at Jill and it's her, and you kind of look away and you look back and it's like kid, like Jill, because you're talking about wishing on the Itia, the red star, and it's just like, oh man, there's just so much history between them, and all the cutscenes in that game are amazing.
Yeah, that scene with them on the beach is up there too.
Yeah,
that was so
that's pretty amazing,
emotional.
That
whole game is such a good cutscene.
Yeah, the whole game. Yeah,
but that was the one that flashed in my brain, so I'm gonna.
Does the whole Phoenix Ifrit fight count?
Yeah, I know. I was like, what's cutscene and what's boss fight?
Define cutscene. Okay, so TeraC, final question is which game's sound design or sound effects stuck out the most for you?
Resident Evil 4 Suplex.
Nice. Perfect.
Easy answer.
Yeah, perfect.
The sound design in general, like the guns and the melee hit sounds, and but that suplex crunch, I will never get tired of that fucking sound.
Yeah, good question, good answer.
Yeah,
and
excellent question.
This is an answer that I can get on board with.
Yeah, you've heard it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm just kind of figuring out how to do it properly. So I can sympathize with the satisfying sound.
Yeah.
Parry hitting shield.
God of War.
Ragnarok also a good one for
so
me.
Good, yeah. Especially if it's like a multi-hit.
Yeah.
And it's like multi-parry. Yeah.
You had a couple of those in your Valhalla run there. So.
Yep. The 16 parry is a good one too, though a lot harder to land.
Yeah.
But it feels good and sounds good when it happens.
If I semi-prime and just slam,
it'll just happen.
It'll just usually just happen. Yeah. I usually just rely on that. It's just happening.
But yeah, Resident Evil 4 Suplex. Next question.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you, TeraCMusic, for your questions.
Yeah, Tara, thank you so much.
Okay, final side quest from Silver Deeds.
Okay.
So 3 questions.
Damn.
Following up on my Hi-Fi Rush suggestion during our last chat, and since it won Best Sound Design, 2 questions. That's the setup. Favorite song in that game, in Hi-Fi Rush?
Oh, perfect. That fits my other thing. So yeah. Corsica, it's called, it was on my fucking Spotify Wrapped. I'm going to look it up because it's worth shouting at the name, but absolutely the Corsica boss fight. Listening to the song on its own is like pretty good, but how much
the
it adds to the fight as it escalates. Oh God, that is 100% that song.
And I really like this question. Also, in general, what's the first video game sound effect from any game that you think of? So just think of
Just thinking back to anything?
Just video game sound effect. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
So none of these games for this year.
Yeah, you can limit it to that or just in general. But
I like the idea of going back.
That's how I interpret this question. Anyways.
Sure. Final Fantasy menu sounds.
Oh, nice.
Like moving the cursor around.
Yeah.
That's like, I'll never not associate that with like menuing in a Final Fantasy. And I'll compare.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, I will compare other JRPGs menu sounds.
Yep.
To like, is as good as those FF blips and bloops.
It's kind of a softness to it, exactly. Yeah,
it's very satisfying.
The one that came to my mind, don't take away my Final Fantasy card, what is the essentially the exclamation mark in Metal Gear Solid, getting
like when you're discovered.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one too.
Corsica.
So it's Negotiation is the name of the song.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
Which actually makes sense for how that boss fight plays out. That easily my favorite song in that game.
Cool.
That was one where I literally had to like pause it and like I had to find a video of that fight so I could watch it again and like really pay attention to how the music escalated as it went, because it hit me near the end. I was like, holy shit, this is cool. And I didn't notice the progression.
Yep.
And I think I like sent that to a few people just to watch this. Yeah, great question.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Silver Deeds. So,
yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Side quests complete. We can go on back to the main story. But
sure.
As I said, I love a good side quest. So sorry, go ahead.
So what we'll do is with those done, we'll do the game trailers game.
Yep.
And then we'll go back to your questions.
Yep. Perfect.
Just thanks again for all the guests that have agreed to come on. I said at the top of the episode, you guys it benefited us way more than you to come on to our show and do that. And just thanks for taking the time to get those questions, because I thought it'd be a fun way to wrap up the year to revisit some of this stuff.
Oh man, just
thanks so much.
Getting back into the mix. We really appreciate coming on the pod. So awesome.
Cool.
Okay,
so let me just quickly re-explain this game for people that may have not seen the other episode. So the short version is my friend at work, who is doesn't really play games or is not in the gaming, sphere at all.
Yeah.
I got her to watch trailers of games that Matt platinumed, and I would just pick a couple. And with her zero context for what any of these games are, I had her write 2 or 3 sentences of what she thinks she just watched.
Yeah.
And then I would read them to Matt, and he had to guess which game she was talking about.
Yeah.
So we flipped that, and Matt sent her a few games of this list over here.
Yep.
And we're just going to do it the other way around. So you'll read, you can read, you'll read them to me and I'll have to guess which off of that. So, to Sarah, if you're watching, which I know she'll want to watch this, thank you for taking some time to do this. Cause this was really fun when we did it last time.
No, it was really fun talking with Sarah. And so, thanks again. I sent her, I took this list. I grabbed a couple of trailers, sent to her and said, give me your rundown.
Sure.
So Garrett has no idea.
Yeah, I don't know any of this.
So here's her interpretation of the trailer. You have to guess which of these is hers. So okay. So Sarah Crandall, thanks again very much. This will be fun. Okay, so in this game, evil Hello Kitty and the masked vigilantes try to save the world. Unknown in society, the public tries to find out who these vigilantes are, parentheses, because of course one single mask is enough to conceal your entire identity. And
Persona 5 Tactica. I'll let you finish.
They seem to be successful in defeating whatever virus or terrible thing that is unleashed on the city.
Oh, wait. It could be... There's 2 Persona 5 games here.
Exactly. I knew it'd be too easy.
Okay. Oh, Eva. Okay, I know what evil Hello Kitty is. It's Morgana. How about like a virus?
Whatever virus or terrible thing that is unleashed on the city.
They could literally be either of these. I'm gonna say Strikers.
It was Strikers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was pretty good.
That was mostly a 50-50 guess. I just feel like Tactica is like has a more stylized visual style to it, and like that might have confused her more than the one that looks a little more normal. So normal.
I think I watched trailers for all of these and picked ones that I thought would be amenable to this.
Someone that doesn't have context.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's the next one. We follow the journey of a girl who seems to have lost touch with reality. A magical land, a dream, maybe a mental health crisis. I will never know. Her quest through dark Narnia reveals many threats, and she is tested mentally and physically by the creatures of the land.
Forspoken.
It is Forspoken.
The Narnia.
Yeah, I like the dark Narnia. That's pretty good. No, okay, good work. You're 2 for 2. Okay. Lava monster and ice fairy battle it out. Without hesitation, the lesser-known emo Hemsworth brother steps in to save the day. As the world crumbles around them, emo Hemsworth and his love interest team up to defend the castle from the evil fire beings.
Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah. Emo Hemsworth.
Is that Clive?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. In the trailer, he is pretty emo.
For someone that doesn't know what they're watching, that is pretty astute of an observation.
Yeah.
He's got the build.
And I can't remember which trailer I sent her, but I think like the Ascension trailer or something like that. But anyways, yeah.
What did she call Clive and Jill, basically?
Lava Monster and Ice Fairy. And they seem to be battling.
That's probably the Titan and Shiva fight at the very beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably what it was.
It's kind of filmed a bit differently, but put together a bit differently.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, here we go. In this anime Hogwarts-inspired world, a group of female warriors, parentheses, who are shockingly dressed appropriately as warriors, are up against a sickness, turning the people against their gods. They, along with the hybrid horse/ram people, fight the elven monsters that are in control of the mysterious sickness.
What the hell is she talking about?
In this anime Hogwarts-inspired world, a group of female warriors, who are shockingly dressed appropriately as warriors, are up against a sickness, turning the people against the gods. They, along with the hybrid horse/ram people, fight the elven monsters that are in control of the mysterious sickness.
Is it Fire Emblem?
Nope.
That is like it looks very like Hogwarts-esque.
Okay.
And it's very anime looking. I think I usually give you 2 guesses.
Sure.
I don't want to just keep going down the list.
Yeah.
My other gut would be Baldur's Gate, but I'm just looking at the list. Oh, it could be Elden Ring. Elden Ring.
No, you should have gone with your gut. Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, watch the trailer for that, and that's exactly what it is. Anyways, yeah. Female were, and I love the dressed appropriately, which maybe put you off the scent.
Yeah. Because, wait, what was the one I said? Baldur's Gate. Right.
Yeah, you said Elden Ring, maybe.
But my gut was Baldur's Gate. I should have went with my gut.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
That was good.
But anyway, okay, yeah. So I sent her 4. So there you go. Those are the 4.
3 for 4.
3 for 4. Pretty good.
Okay,
I feel like that's better than I did with my list.
And I was close on the last one.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, okay, great. That was really good.
Right. Thanks, Sarah. That's very well done.
Yeah.
I can imagine those games specifically watching them with no context.
Oh man,
would be like, what the fuck is that?
I remember for FF16 specifically, I was like, I want to send like the most ridiculous, out of control trailer. And so
I feel like she said something to me like she didn't give me any hints to what you sent her or whatever.
Yeah,
but I think she just said. I feel like she messaged me at work one day and said something along the lines like, "Are these seriously the games you're playing?" or something to that effect. There's something like that, yeah. And I know, out of context.
Oh man, so good. Anyways, yeah. Thanks again, Sarah. Those were great.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, we can go right into your questions if you want.
Yeah, perfect. Okay? Let's do it.
So let's go.
So yeah, I've got a lot, so I'll kind of pick and choose here. Sure. So some of them are like okay, best.
So for yours, because like I said earlier, for the guests, I would want to give a little more, long-winded answer just because they took the time to come with the question. So
yep.
For yours, I'll try to stick to like
rapid fire
15 seconds or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt.
Okay, cool. Best box art.
Oh shit. This is gonna be way too hard. I think Tears of the Kingdom, because it has a very subtle Easter egg about what happens story-wise.
I like a good box art that
makes more sense when you go back.
But isn't a spoiler if you don't know what the hell, yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush close second because that box art is sweet. But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom has a nice little Easter egg in it.
Okay. Best NPC.
Oh, Jesus. Gav.
Yeah, that's a good one.
From 16. Oh, this is going to be hard.
Funniest moment that wasn't intended to be funny. This might be hard.
Ooh.
Just because I wrote this after I encountered a moment.
I feel like it would be in... I don't know. I was going to say RE4 Remake, but his are usually cheesy one-liners that are kind of meant to be.
Yeah. I mean, one of those can count. Because I feel like it's not intended to be that corny all the time.
True.
To give you a chance to think, I think I talked about this on the pod where at some point you're in the hideaway and it was like you talk to some person who's like the whatever guy, the know-it-all, the loresman guy.
Yeah.
He's like, he told me I could have as many books as I can carry. This is as many books as I could carry. And I remember finding that super funny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, this popped into my head is the like excessive grunting in a fight in 16 sometimes
Fair.
when you just like back to back do some of like his icon abilities.
Yeah.
And especially when it's like you get the killing blow.
Yeah.
And you get that slow-mo like silence part. It's just or like oh yeah, that's okay. Elaborate on that is when those you go into that like abandoned town and it's like the villagers are like the knights that you like that trained with you when you were a kid or something. And you just like beat the shit out of them with all your icon abilities, and then they're just like, oh, they'll be fine. Like they're just sort of like getting up. I don't think that was intended to be super funny.
Yeah.
But I like murdered those people, and then I was like, I don't feel good about this, and then they were just all kind of like brushing off the dust.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
No,
that's
good.
That popped in my head.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I see. I remember what you're saying. Like the
I forget what they were called.
The people that protected when you meet up with that guy again. Yeah.
Like when you go back later.
And then you're like, oh, let's join up. And it's like, man, I was straight up murdering you.
I set all of your men on fire.
Phoenix. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, you're that guy? Oh, man. Shit. Sorry about that.
That'd be my answer.
Most satisfying trophy.
Ooh. 16 was. I'll say,
and not just platinum, just like trophy in general. Yeah.
Can I? If it's like well, no, that won't count. No, never mind. We're doing quick ones. I don't. 16 was fun to platinum, but I don't remember like one specific trophy that really resonated, like specifically. I think getting the theater rhythm platinum,
that'd be pretty satisfying.
Because when I was playing it earlier in the year, I was like, there's no way I'll get this. Like looking at what you had to do. And some of the like quests that you had to do to get them were hard and took a lot of like planning. So I'll say that. I think the platinum for that was super satisfying.
Okay. Best Easter egg.
Ooh.
So these are hard questions. So,
no, that's I like it. Fire Emblem Engage. No, sorry. Xenoblade Chronicles had Easter egg overload.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I could pick one specific. That entire game, there were some music Easter eggs in that are hearkening back to Xenoblades 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a specific music track of like a colony, like a town sort of place from Xenoblade 1. That when I realized they're doing that, I said, "Oh, there's going to be a lot of this in this DLC."
Yeah.
So I'll say that the Easter egg, music Easter eggs in the Xenoblade 3 DLC.
This counts as an Easter egg. I loved that at one point. Can't remember if it's like East Pool or whatever in FF16, where the Scarecrow is like a classic mage.
Yeah,
that was a
the
good
Black Mage.
Yeah.
That is really good too. I forgot about that. That's a good one.
Yeah. Food or drink in a game that you wish was real. I probably had something in mind when I wrote this question.
I mean, so much of the food in Zelda, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Let's see if anything else sticks out more to me than that.
I may have written this when going through some of the side quests in 16 of making the whatever, all the stews or whatever.
Yeah. I can't think of a specific one because they're named really weird things, but like some of the like thumbnails or whatever of food you get in Tears of the Kingdom, because that game has a lot of like cooking your own meals for different benefit, like different buffs and stuff. So I'll say I don't know which one because I don't remember what they're called, but it was definitely
Tears of the Kingdom stuff.
Definitely something from Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah.
Most cosplay friendly character from this list.
So cosplay friendly, as in would make a really cool cosplay, or the easiest to cosplay.
Let's say easiest, but not like. Not because it's not elaborate, but like like not like
one I'd most like to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like sorry, I guess maybe a better way to describe this question is it's humanly possible to do and and would be cool to see. Yeah.
Okay. I would like to see. I feel like it's gonna be 16. Let's be honest. Ooh. Wow, there's some Octopath. I know Purpleschala did a No Chet cosplay, and that was really good. And actually, Octopath Traveler 2 would bring me the most enjoyment to see cosplay from those characters, because you have to take like the pixel art and translate it into cosplay.
Yep.
And I feel like
that's cool.
That would be like the most fun to see. And that's why hers probably stuck out to me, because it was like there's art and stuff, but there's no like 3D rendering of it, right? So of those,
your first step is to interpret, and then it's to make the cosplay. So yeah.
And I think Ochet's just a good choice because her character design is very good. So I'll say that.
Okay. And I guess most cosplay unfriendly character or costume. And so, like for me, my answer is the ultimate like Ifrit Phoenix Bahamut icon. Just like, okay, this is not possible. Just kind of like, okay, yeah, sure. You're gonna do this as a cosplay. Good luck.
Sure.
Yeah.
There would be. Oh boy. I said I was gonna do these fast. Hi-Fi Rush would be the main character. Oh my god, what is his name? I'm under the pressure, I'm forgetting.
And so that...
What is his name? Oh, it's gonna bother me. I'm gonna feel so stupid. He's got like this mechanical arm and like essentially an iPod in his chest.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I feel like that would be a really hard one to do convincingly.
Yeah.
It's like a chai. I knew that. I kept wanting to say chive.
Again,
and I think Clive was. Yeah.
Okay, you've got this huge list. So
his would be hard to do convincingly because it's like very like skinny mechanical arm.
Yeah,
it'd be hard to do.
So it's kind of like your cosplay would be with the arm or with right, and it's like but no, to do it right. Yeah. Okay, I think I already know the answer to this based on previous, but so Mididol or Jill?
Oh, Jill.
Okay.
Mid is great.
Yeah. So.
But Jill for sure.
Okay.
It has to be Jill.
Yeah. Got. I
love Mid though. Her accent. I love Mid's accent.
I love her accent too.
Okay, but it's Jill.
Okay. Let's see here. Man cry moment of the year.
I think it is 16's ending.
Yeah.
I'm just looking in case I'm forgetting something. No. 16 ending for sure.
Yeah. I think Jill looking up at the sky and the star goes out. That was where I was just like,
Torgal howling.
I was like, fuck you, Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So here's one which may expose my ignorance a little bit, but like in some, but I guess not all the games I've played, it's sometimes like, oh, choose frame rate or choose graphics.
Sure.
When given the choice, what do you choose for your first run through?
Yeah, good question. It kind of depends on the game.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like super precise control needed, I'll usually go performance.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a flow chart. It's like it'll be that if it needs more precise gameplay. If it's like a slower paced game, then I'm okay graphics. But
Yeah.
usually performance more often than not. If the performance mode isn't very good and it gets real choppy and like can't maintain 60 frames frequently, then I might just say, you know what, I'll be fine with 30 frames because it'll be consistent.
Yeah.
But more often than not, performance mode.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this one. Underutilized mechanic or skill. So for me, for example, in FF16, if you click R3, you do like a 180 turn.
I did not know that.
And I'm just like, it's like, I knew that, I was taught that, but I never use it.
Sure.
So is there any sort of like, or today with Mike, it was just like, oh yeah, apparently if you hold square and hit the like map button is the taunt. And it's like, oh yeah, I never used that.
I knew that was a thing, but I don't think I ever used it either.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily that you didn't know it. It's just like, yeah, I know this is a thing, but
I just never did
I'll swing with my right stick 180 degrees instead of clicking R. Like,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. So, anyways, and even like RE4, if you hold back and hit square,
that one I do use.
And so I don't use that as often. And I'm like, wow, why did I do that? But my brain just
forget.
Underutilized mechanic or skill.
I'll say Baldur's Gate 3. There are so many situations where using things like detect thoughts, disguise self, charm, speak with animals, that would have made so many like conversations with like trying to get my way into someplace or whatever.
Yeah,
would make those so easy.
Yeah,
and I just forget.
Yeah,
and I just never do it. And I should, because when I watch D&D, like I watch Critical Role and stuff, it's like they use that stuff all the time.
Yeah,
and I just forget about it.
I'd be better at this game if I did this. Yeah,
that's what I'll say. Because I know there are times where I fucked up like a side quest or whatever. And I'm like, God damn it, if I just cast this one spell that I have like 17 scrolls to do, it would have helped.
Let's see here. I like this one. Okay, and so I encounter this maybe more often in my daily life than you do.
Okay.
But old man moment. In playing these games where you just felt like old. I am an old gamer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell mine just as context and to give you some time.
Sure.
I remember playing FF16 for a couple of hours, and I remember having to say, this motion blur is driving me crazy. I had to turn the motion blur way off because I was just like, I'm an old man. This is really driving me crazy. And I was like, fuck, I'm old. I got to adjust the motion blur because I wasn't feeling like nauseous, but I was just like,
so
ugh.
I will say that is the thing that a lot of people tend to turn off because it is too much.
Yeah.
So if that helps you feel better,
I don't feel as old.
Yeah, sure.
But I remember being like, no, I don't need to adjust the motion blur. I'm still young. I'm still fine with this. And I was like, nope, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely more of a preference thing, not an age thing.
Okay.
I would say.
Phew. I did have to increase the text size in God of War. so there you go.
Okay. I feel like I almost had one. Old man moment. Let me. There was one that I just like was looking at, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll never be able to do that." Oh yeah, the one that popped in my head was the Mario RPG 100 jumps. It's like, okay, I can't do this.
Yeah.
This is a young man's game. I can't do this 100 jumps. I got to like 70, and I like had to like turn the game off because I couldn't see.
Yeah.
Like my eyes were so like glazed over.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll say for that one.
Yeah, I still have a lot, so we can shut this down whenever you want.
Oh, I'm good. I like these.
Gaming moment that was weirdly similar to your actual job.
I have one immediately. There's, without going into like super specifics of what my job is.
Yeah.
There was a trophy in FF6 where you had to get a certain combination on Setzer's slot thing.
Yeah.
And that felt like a lot of QA testing that I've had to do in my job before.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't want to like go super elaborate on that description, but yeah, that was one that I was like, I'm not at work right now.
Yeah. Whenever I need to like sell things, that always kind of like, I'm always just like, oh my God, like seriously, I can't get away with this. But I do remember in FF16 when delivering all the food. Yeah. I used to be a server, and I was just like, okay, I get it. Go deliver this food. Oh, this isn't very good. Oh, shut the fuck up.
I gotta chat with this person
exactly.
for a few minutes. Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, I like this one. So can you remember out of these games like a certain time in a certain game that was like the highest level of where you couldn't concentrate at all at work, where you're just like, I
wanted to go home and play this game.
I need to get back home, and it's all I can think about.
I platinumed FF16 before I went back to work, so it's not that one. Elden Ring had a really tight grip on me that I just couldn't wait to go home and play more. I think Baldur's Gate, though. I just wanted to, like, try every other class and, like, try different, like, spell combinations or, like... I think Baldur's Gate 3 had a tighter grip on me while I was at work.
Yeah.
That I just couldn't wait to get home. And it was definitely the type of game where consistently I'd come home, boot it up.
Yeah.
And it's already 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
like, It's already been 6 hours and now I have to go to bed. And I for sure had dreams about it. So that's probably indicative of how much I was thinking about it at work.
No, and that's exactly what the question was.
Yeah.
And for me, I remember like there's several points of FF16 where it was just like I can't. Well, it's like, oh, sales meeting, like whatever. It's like, yeah, I don't care. Like, if you're not talking about the mother crystals, I really don't care. And like, oh, there's a war and whatever. It's like, look, is it Senbrick or like, whatever? I really don't care. So I think that like emotionally had the biggest. I just need to get home or work from home. I need to just get down to the basement and play this game. But God of War had the like I need to beat the King Berserker or like I can't concentrate because I'm just
thinking about how else you could approach that fight or what build you could do or
And that was the game where it was just like I'm going to do this, and then it'd be like 3 a.m. and I'd be like, fuck, like I have to get up at like 6. So anyway,
that's if I didn't take a week off for FF16. 100% it would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
But I literally platinumed it like a day before I went back to work. So
yeah. So you got that all out.
I got it out of my system.
Okay. Here's a good one. The proudest you were of me all year.
I feel like I could not believe you platinumed the Mega Man X collection.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I think when we were doing, it was probably when I was doing the game trailers thing, because I was looking at your trophies and going down. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, how the hell? And then when you were explaining some of the shit you had to do, that would be up there. I think. I mean, I'm genuinely happy how fast you got through 16.
Okay.
So that we could just talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, that is the fun part of this. But I don't know if that'd be the Mega Man thing is maybe more surprised and not as proud.
I mean,
how about this? No, how about this? I'm proud that you beat the Valhalla DLC before I did.
Oh, okay.
Because we probably started it at about the same time.
Yeah.
And you got through that faster than I did.
Yeah, okay. No, I was pretty proud of that too. When I was kind of not coaching, but just showing you a couple of things. So
yeah, you were for sure.
Okay. If you had your choice of fire, ice, or thunder as
Final Fantasy spells,
yes,
okay.
Yeah, just of if you could do this in your, I mean FF16, you know, you can use it to light up a fire or cool thing. Anyway, what would you choose?
Fire, ice, or thunder?
And it can be as low key as light a candle or
sure,
you know, shoot a fireball at someone, or the ice and thunder equivalent.
Sure.
Yeah.
I always like ice powers the most in games.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what. I feel like that would be nicer to have in the summer than having fire in the winter.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I feel like I heat up easier than I cool down. So that will be my basis for that answer.
Yeah, no, perfect. Yeah, I was like, thunder will be cool. Fire's my answer. I'd like fire. Fire would be a useful skill.
Sure,
I guess. Voice actor you'd like to meet. You'd most like to meet.
Oh man, it's not. I can't pick one.
I know.
Let's keep it to my games of this year.
Yeah. Just
to make it a little easier on myself. That's not making it any easier.
Yeah.
God damn it. I've watched a lot of Nick. I don't remember how to pronounce his last name. The guy who plays Leon, and he's really funny on social media too. Man, Ben Starr is just so funny though. But I also love Shadowheart. Oh my god, I don't know. I think oh no, fuck. This is too hard. Jennifer English for Shadowheart.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, no. Listen, it's like we said. It's hard, these are hard questions.
Yeah.
If you were a voice actor, would you prefer to be a hero or a villain?
Ooh, that is a good question. I think a villain would be more fun. Because I feel like there's like more ways you could do that. If you're a hero, more often than not, you're probably more the stoic type. And
you probably have to follow a certain fit in a certain glove.
Yeah, that's at least as an outsider, that's what I would expect. So I think my voice would be better for more villainous and more villainous type characters.
Yeah. I think, villain would be, I think, easier.
Like for me,
yeah.
that they are easy and one is easy and one's
No.
hard.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
for us.
Exactly.
Sure.
Our voice,
Yeah.
essentially the same.
Yeah,
Yeah. Would be better suited for a villain character, and maybe would be easier to pull that off.
Sure.
But yeah, a good hero is the star when it's done well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly. I feel like it's harder to do that well from my perspective.
Yeah.
Anyway, at least how I would be able to do it.
This doesn't need to be limited to this year, but a game you wish you liked more or you wished you were good. You were good at.
I'll stick with the games on this list to keep it on theme.
Okay.
Wish I liked more. I don't really like a lot of these games.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Space, I think I expected to like it more than I did. Because I really like the original. And maybe I'm just not into the... Well, I definitely was like... that was one of the few games on this list that I was like, how many chapters are in this? Like, you know what I mean? Like looking like, how much farther do I have to go? So probably that one. And it's nothing really against the game. It's just... I was expecting to like it more, and I was like, okay, I'm glad I bought this on sale because I'm kind of done.
What else do I got here? Remake that you're betting on for 2024.
Ooh. So it wouldn't be a full-on ground-up remake.
Okay.
But 13 trilogy.
Yep.
At like a FF10/10.2 level remaster.
Yeah.
It's happening in 2024.
Because even Lightning Returns was PS3, right?
Yeah. All three of them were PS3.
Yep.
And they're still there. So yeah, that's going to happen.
That would be awesome. Okay.
As you can see.
yeah.
I like
big Lightning fan.
I like 13.
Yeah. And I do as well. And I've played... I have not platinumed all of those.
You did 2 and 3, I think. 1 is the crazy one.
I've definitely done 2. I don't know if I got 3, but maybe I did. But yeah, 1 is just like, that was a hard no for me, and I think you got it.
I did it like 10 years later.
yeah. Because it's like, have every item ever, and it's just like, what the hell's wrong with you? It's like silver trophy. It's probably a gold one, but so unconfirmed thing that you want to see in FF7 Rebirth.
Ooh.
And keeping in mind you haven't seen the the most recent.
I didn't watch the Game Awards trailer.
Yeah.
Oh man. What do I mean, I know we're gonna see Sid, and I just don't know what his combat is gonna look like, though. We won't be able to control him.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if we'll get this far, but I don't know why this came to my mind.
Yeah.
Scarlet and Tifa slapping the shit out of each
other. Yes. That's exactly my answer. That's exactly what I want to see.
That might be part 3, depending how far this one goes. But yeah. Just Rebirth and Beyond. I thought I had a moment when, like, back in 2020 playing Remake, when we saw Scarlet, I'm like, I had a moment like, oh, wait, I remembered that scene. Like, that is going to be so funny. And because it's gotta happen.
I love how the remake, FF7 Remake, it always comes back.
Yeah.
They're so good at taking silly nonsense. I don't even call them mini games. And
because you had to input in that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I forgot about that part of it. I just remembered
it's essentially mash square or something like that. Anyway, they'll turn that into a full-fledged mini game cutscene, something around it. Anyway, that'll be really funny.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do like maybe like two more.
Sure.
Let's see here. Favorite Tekken moment of the year. That's hard because we played a lot of Tekken the last couple of days. So
I have one though.
Okay.
So this isn't Tekken 8 like stuff.
This is or is not?
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, no, just like we've played Tekken a bunch this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's probably Tekken 7 moment of the year.
Yeah. Okay. So we were literally playing the other day.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember who we were playing because there was a point where Matt's wife was basically telling whoever won. So we were like, winner stays on. But Matt's wife tells them who to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Based off of the look because she doesn't know anything about Tekken.
Yeah.
So it was essentially random to an extent.
Yeah.
So I don't remember who we were playing.
Yeah.
But you did a rage art, and I think it was one where I didn't even block it. I was just a little bit far back and it missed.
Yeah.
And you said something like, you were like, man, I think I just have to. And I just did this one like backhand move, and it's just like the sound of the hit, and it was the game winning like round 5 hit, like game over. It's like, it was a silence after the rage. I was like, I think I just have to.
Like it was me contemplating. Now, in order to win, I think all I need to do is game over. Garrett wins. So I was just like, oh god damn it!
And it was such like a quick hit too. Like that was by far the funniest Tekken moment we had all year.
There were so many good ones of. My buddy Hoonj was over who'd never played Tekken, but he's a button masher, and so he got out of every throw ever. He was a magician at that.
Out of pure luck.
Pure luck. At that time where I was Yoshimitsu and I had Mike cornered and I was on my sword, chopping him up.
Walking on his swords, doing a string of like combos into a throw that we have never seen before. And we play a lot of Tekken.
Yeah. That was pretty good. That was...
and this is all in the last, 3 days.
3 days, yeah, exactly. But we did have some pretty... I wrote this question long ago, so... anyway. Let's see here.
Yeah, that was funny.
Fake place that you'd most like to visit.
Like from a game.
From a game, yeah.
I'm looking at this list. I don't want to visit anywhere in Hyrule because it's always under attack.
Resident Evil 4, that's probably a hard pass.
Yeah, hard pass for me on that one. I feel like there's some good environments in 16, but I don't know. I wouldn't do well in a medieval setting.
Yeah.
The world of, you know what? Shujin Academy from Persona 5.
Nice.
That high school, or I think it's high school. Anyway, it is technically in Japan.
Yeah.
But their version of it is.
Yeah. We'll count that.
Very stylized.
Yeah. Their stylized version.
Yeah.
Of a high school in Japan or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll end on your favorite. This is why I play video games moment.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, there's so much in 16 I could say. But there was a moment in Tears of the Kingdom where you're fighting. It's like this sort of serpentine, it's called caldera. It's almost like it's got a pincer sort of mouth. And it's this flying creature.
Yeah.
And you gotta break segments of its body because it's ice.
Yeah.
And you're riding the updrafts and stuff and shooting it with bomb arrows or whatever.
Yeah. And
so not only is the music amazing because it calls back to the Dragon Roost Island theme from Wind Waker.
Oh wow.
Because I think the boss there was like an enemy or a boss there that was like the fire version of this enemy, and it's in like the area of the Rito, which is like the same sort of race from Wind Waker, so it's all connected musically.
Oh wow.
And there's a point where he's like last phase and like last ice piece to hit.
Yeah.
And he was just lined up like perfectly with me, like going under me. And instead of shooting an arrow, like when you're diving in Tears of the Kingdom, if you hold like R1 essentially, you kind of like, because it's for when you're going from the sky islands to the surface, because otherwise it takes a long time.
Yeah.
You kind of like, you know, you kind of head down, arms out your side, like dive really fast.
Yeah.
And I dove through that last piece and broke it. Instead of shooting it.
Yeah.
And that was like, it was one of those moments like, is this gonna work?
Yeah.
Can I do this? And I do it, and it worked, and it was like I think it was like the last hit of the boss fight, or at least of that phase. And I was just like, it felt so good to just be rewarded for like that moment of like, can I do this?
Yeah.
And then it does it. And it was during such a, like the music was swelling, like at that really good part of the song. And that was like, that was a moment where it's like, fuck, I love video games. Like, again, I could say a lot of parts of 16 did that too.
Yeah.
But this was just more of less. It was the spectacle, but also the, like, let me see if I can make the game do this weird thing and have it work. And it did.
Yeah. No. That's a great answer.
That would be probably it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good chunk of my questions.
Yeah,
so
those are great.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I appreciate you taking time to write those through the last like several months.
Oh man, it was just fun to write them and fun to hear your answers and fun to think of my own. So.
I'm sure I'll regret a bunch of them once I have a time to reflect. But that was the point, is what's my gut answer.
Yep, no, exactly. And that's why I was kind of like, look, are these kind of 15-second rule, or are these pause the podcast and think about it? So
so we said we'll go with my gut.
So yeah, kind of, you know, all answers have the disclaimer. These are, you know, firing
first thing that comes
to mind. Answer maybe in hindsight, but hey, that wasn't part of the game. So, yeah. Anyway, that was a good time.
One thing I'll do super quick before we give our actual game of the year picks. I want to just hit a couple points on some of these that I feel are worth shouting out. Just some of my highlights of my games of the year, or my games that I played. Hi-Fi Rush. Even everything in the cutscenes stays on rhythm to the music, which is fucking cool.
That's awesome.
Hyrule Warriors, one of the coolest versions of Zelda, because she's a freaking badass in that, and she fights. Her fighting style is super fun. Fire Emblem Engage, that visual style still holds up for Fire Emblem. I love that style. Metroid Prime Remastered, the way they adapted controls to a normal dual stick controller is amazing for being a platformer as much of a shooter. It could have been way more annoying to control and shoot while jumping and things like that. This I wanted to point out. In Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm, when you're playing the Genova theme, this is why I love this game, because it taught me something about a song I'd listened to already a million times.
I love that.
When you're playing the Genova theme from Remake, when it gets to that part at the end where it goes full Genova theme, the one-winged angel melody is hidden in that song.
Oh,
and I
really?
don't think it's in the original Genova. And they only know that because while it happens, it does like what the lyrical part of One Winged Angel does, like what that melody is. I'm not gonna try and sing it. But it's like during like sort of in between two big parts of the song. It's very subtle, but it's like the notes are on the screen for you to hit that rhythm of those notes.
I'll definitely revisit that.
And I'm just like, what? What? And that's like more about how Sephiroth is messing with stuff when he shouldn't be yet. And anyway.
So when you're using 8 of your 10 fingers, you need to be doing, the one-winged angel with your pinkies, essentially. Okay.
And so just hearing it because that game showed it to me was
That's cool. Didn't show it to you, forced you to do it as part of the game.
That forced me to play it. Octopath 2, the other character, Casti, has one of the best. She has the best story in that game and has a crazy plot twist that I did not see coming at all.
I'll have to put that up in my list because I thought
so
I'd have to
good.
play Octopath 1 first.
No, you can jump right into 2. The remasters. Oh, 10 out of 10 rearranged soundtrack from the remasters. Pixel remasters.
Oh, yeah. One of my questions was, which I didn't ask, was rank FF1 to 16.
Fuck no. Fuck you. I wouldn't be able to do that in 10 seconds.
No.
We talked about Tears of the Kingdom. 16, we talked a lot. I think I mentioned Sid is like my favorite version of Sid.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, the Melania boss fight took me 3 days.
Oh, God.
Probably there was like 12 hours of attempts.
Back to 16 for a sec. So our cousin Mike is playing it, but he's doing it with the Japanese voices. And I was like, no, like, what are you doing? And then Garrett comes over and I was like, you played it with the Japanese voices. And like, that's normally our move.
Yeah.
But Garrett, I remember your name was like, Soken tells you not, or sorry, Yoshi P tells you to do it with the English voices. Yeah. So I'm watching him kind of play it while I worked the last couple of days, and I was like, dude, just turn it, do the English voices. Like, come on.
It would just be the lip sync that would throw me off.
Yeah.
Nothing against obviously the Japanese.
No, not at all. Like I said, that's usually our move because it's the more authentic version.
Yeah.
But this one, it's like, no, the definitive version is the English one. Yeah.
The director told you to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Street Fighter 6 sound design is awesome. The whooshing of clothing when you're doing moves. I don't know why that sticks out to me so much, but I love it. Baldur's Gate 3 we talked about. I love that game. Armored Core 6. I'm glad. Unexpectedly good soundtrack. Soundtrack is not something I think of when I think of Armored Core, and it is very good in this game. Super Mario Wonder, I love. We talked about this before, but the new like visual identity of Mario now for 2Ds at least. Yeah. I hope they stick with that. Spider-Man 2 load times are ridiculous, and Miles is standout in that game. 10 out of 10. I love Miles so much in that game. Mario RPG, the 3D Culex boss fight we talked a little bit about.
Oh, yeah.
So good. And Persona, we talked about that. Those are just some things that I wanted to shout out in case they come up in questions, but I was like, I want to mention these anyway because they're really good. Yeah.
Man, been a pretty good effing year if I do say so myself. So
I had some stats I was gonna compile and I totally forgot.
Yeah.
But it was like I just looked at how many hours per that I had spent on all my games. I think I may have taken a picture. Let me just look super fast. Yeah. Oh, I don't know the total though.
Just count 24 hours times X number of days per year.
Yeah, it was like I'm pretty sure it was like 1,200 hours or 1,300 hours of across all these games. It had worked out to like if I divided into 40-hour work weeks.
Yeah.
Whatever my total was, it ended up being like 39 weeks. So it was like almost my entire year was like full-time gaming outside of my full-time job.
Full-time job, full-time gaming. There you go.
Yeah. I wrote those down somewhere. I forget where I put them now.
Oh,
it was 30, in the high 30s.
It was on par with a full-time job.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of how many weeks.
Hey, whatever.
So yeah. It was,
find something you love and
it was insane. Okay, here, let's go back. Let me just switch this back over. So yeah, we'll go. That's pretty much it. We'll give our GOTY picks for the year.
Oh man,
we did everything.
We had lots of good questions.
Thanks again to the guests for coming up with those and taking the time. I really, really appreciate that.
This is a pretty fun kind of year in review. Both in terms of games and a year of podcasting. So,
lots of stuff that it's fun to look back on, and I'll have fun editing this. I forgot to write down when I was going to throw. What was I going to? Oh, Chet. I'm going to try to remember to find that and throw that in because that was one I said I wanted to put in there.
But no, this is just kind of a fun little project that turned into something that I've had a really good time with, and I want to do this next year, and
we will have a lot to talk about next year. With at least, if nothing else, with Tekken, and then Rebirth, and then for me, 14 Dawn Trail.
Yeah.
So there's no shortage of games for us to discuss.
I'll try to find time between playing Rebirth.
Yeah.
Because that is going to be...
We'll have to do it. I think we did something similar when 16 came out, where we did I think we recorded that like a day or two before the game came out, because it's like, because you won't see me for like 2 weeks after this.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have to do a similar thing for Rebirth, is get an episode out like the weekend before it comes out. And then we'll have plenty to talk about. So
we'll kind of do a few battles in Tekken to take us to Rebirth, and then
we have a full month of Tekken before Rebirth. That's perfect. Okay, hit me with your game of the year first.
So for me, it's maybe,
I think I know what it's going to be.
Perhaps unsurprising. FF16. I love that game to death. Just from the demo to the roll credits to immediately jumping into Final Fantasy mode, platinuming.
You didn't like take a break and then go back.
No, no games interrupting my play. That was, and I had my doubts, right? Like I was just like, FF7 is my jam. I like Final Fantasy, but nothing will ever hit me like FF7 does. No. And then Clive punched me in the feels, and I was just like, anyway, that game became my life, and that might be my second favorite Final Fantasy game of all time.
Wow.
I loved it. Okay. I loved it. So, that's my game of the year. So
that's just so good. So for me, it definitely comes down to Final Fantasy 16, Tears of the Kingdom, and Baldur's Gate.
Yep.
It's for sure what I would narrow down to.
I feel like that's what was that the game of the Baldur's Video Game Awards.
Baldur's Gate won Game of the Year at a lot of different not just the one that was in Los Angeles. There's a bunch of them internationally, and they won a lot.
But I feel like the Video Game Awards or whatever was Baldur's Gate 16 and Tears of the Kingdom were the nominees.
Alan Wake 2, I think, was there, and Mario Wonder, I think, was there.
Right.
I forget how many nominees there were, but
anyway, hard question, because I know those two games are just critically acclaimed.
And like Baldur's Gate 3 was so good, and I didn't expect to like it as much as I did.
Yeah. And again, Final Fantasy card is not in jeopardy here. Yeah.
So I definitely, this is obviously not a spur of the moment question. Like, I've had time to reflect on this. So I think, honestly, it's Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. And the reason why, because I'm even wearing a 16 sweater. I'm not wearing a Tears of the Kingdom sweater, but it's 16 had higher highs.
Yeah.
For sure. When it hit those crazy moments, it hit me harder, for sure. I feel like there were some slight pacing issues. It was like the end of the normal run and beginning of the Final Fantasy run.
Yeah.
It was like things were too easy at the end of the first run and then too hard at the beginning of the second run.
Sure.
But then, like, on either end of those, it was back to like where I liked it.
Yeah.
And I think with Tears of the Kingdom, I just was I was more consistently enjoying everything.
Yeah.
And I played it for twice as long, and I was like, not like, okay, I was only worried about not finishing it before 16 came out.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like tired of it. Even doing the 100% map completion.
Yeah.
I think I was like 0.4% missing for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And it still didn't like sour the experience.
Yeah. You still felt like you were enjoying every minute of it. Yeah.
Like I almost went, if my friends didn't get me like super hooked on Genshin for this like month of December as like my cooldown period.
Yeah.
I like started a new file in Tears of the Kingdom and I was just going to like go through the main story again.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got hooked on that and I was like, oh, that's 2 big open world games.
Yeah.
I'll stick with one.
Yeah.
But God damn it, I love FF16. But I really think Tears of the Kingdom just was more fun consistently. It just, yeah.
Oh man. I mean,
but 16 had higher highs by far.
Yeah.
It was just a steadier.
And I didn't play Tears of the Kingdom this year, so that was my standalone because anyway.
Outside of, I think I'd pick 16 over Baldur's Gate. Just because it does edge out being a Final Fantasy game and how good the music, like, there's a lot of reasons why I would pick it over Baldur's Gate, even though I love Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
But looking at, first of all, it's insane that we got a new Zelda on the scale that it was and a brand new Final Fantasy 16 within a month of each other.
This year was insane.
Crazy. Totally insane. But yeah, I think Tears of the Kingdom just barely takes it for me.
Yeah. No, fair.
Over 16, but it's close. It's just, 16 had, Tears of the Kingdom, I played so much and saw everything in that game.
Yep.
And I was like, I could have kept playing if 16 didn't come out.
Yeah.
I could have found more reasons to continue playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nope. Hey, good answer.
I think that's what it would be. Yeah.
Nope. Well, a good year of gaming and a good year of podcasting. So, yeah.
It's so busy. I was like looking forward to December was definitely a break because like, even though my friends got me playing Genshin, it's like that's not a new game, so I can just sort of like play that as I want to and as much or as little as I want to. And then it's like I get a break in December and then in January because Tekken's late January. But then it's like Tekken 8, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is like 2 days later. And like Persona 3 Remake is like a day later. And then Remake or Rebirth is like a month after
2024 is going to be no rest for the wicked for sure.
No. And there's the new Mana game that Square's doing that's going to be next year at some point. That Stellar Blade game is coming out next year. Dragon's Dogma 2 is next year. Fuck.
Can't wait.
It's already stacking up. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a little bit longer of an episode, but it was a crazy year and we had to cover a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to embrace as many of those questions as we could because not only is that fun for me to have you put me on the spot for a change.
Yeah.
But also to involve our side quest guests.
Yeah, totally.
To get involved in this last episode. So thanks again to everyone who did those questions. And I will absolutely keep trying to wrangle more people in for interviews as I can. Because that was really fun to do for me this year. So.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, all the, we're going to have just a great time in 2024 and, for all the new games that we have on the docket. So, anyway.
Get prepared for like 3 straight episodes talking about Rebirth because it's just going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Just accept it.
Just accept it. Yeah, exactly. So, well,
cool.
Well, thanks, Garrett. And thanks everyone for an awesome year of gaming. 2023 did not disappoint. And, we'll keep this going because, it's a good time. So
there's no way we could not be doing a podcast next year with the stuff that's coming.
Yeah, I know exactly.
So we'll definitely keep this going into the new year for sure. So thanks everyone for watching. Let us know what your game of the year picks are in the comments.
If you have different answers to any of those questions,
just shoot those over to us. I love just not just best action game, best. It's like, no, I told Matt, like, give me the most random ass questions you can think of, because that's way more fun for me to try and think of that stuff and really paints a better picture of a game, in a zoomed out picture of what that game is for you.
So put your answers in, because maybe we'll find some good ones and debate debate some of them on the pod. So cool.
All right. Okay. I guess that's it for 2023. Thanks everyone again, and I should be able to get this up before the new year, so we'll start 2024 off strong with this wrap up of one of the craziest year we've had since like the late 90s for game releases. So.
But okay, cool. Well, thanks everyone.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.